Yeah, we're doing a
like
shit ton.
September, and work our way down.
Oh yeah, there's
Okay,
probably like
because,
45 of them, Marcia.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because then I could tell, because like that September and October were my months, and then I got real busy in November and December.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I don't know
dude.
how.
Yeah.
All right, you actually, it sounds pretty good.
Because-
45. It sounds pretty good, honestly.
So, have you actually been into an office situation just yet? I mean, with like the holidays and everything, or are you like strictly remoting?
I did go in. The first week I went 3 days. The second week I went 1 day, and then last week I didn't go in at all. And next week I'll probably.
It was like boom, cut it off.
Yeah. And then I'm off tomorrow, and so then I might go in. I might go in 3 days next week. I don't know.
How
Maybe
is
just
the
Wednesday,
twang of
Thursday.
the people, Marcia?
Huh?
How is the twang of the people? Being South Carolina.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's a mixed bag. I find myself falling into it really quickly, and I'm talking to them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they probably think I'm making fun of them, and
that was Madonna's excuse too when she was, back in the UK.
It's weird. I have a hard time picking my Eastern accent back up. Like I hardly ever get it to come back. But the Southern one, it is so easy to fall into, probably just because it's such a lazy language.
Well, and we're still surrounded by Southerns over here in Arizona.
Exactly right.
No, that's Southern Belle.
Yeah, that's true.
Good.
No, we got
Country fried chicken.
No, we got Cowboy Southern over here too, though. If I put my mind to it, we could pull it up.
If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
So, just real quick. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Having Fuego here.
Oh my gosh, look at that beard.
Are you not gonna say Marcia? Thank you. Okay.
Gangster.
That's right.
We miss her so much.
Me.
Marcia from across the country now.
Okay.
But yeah, guys, we're here to discuss a whole lot of stuff, but I was busy getting the technical side of things prepared, so I need to run and get a little bit of more booze in me to do this accurately and appropriately. So everyone, I wanted to at least get on so Fuego and Marcia could talk a bit while I go do that. So, but hello everyone, it's good to see you all. We have a shit ton to talk about. If you're curious what we're going to talk about, check the description box down below because the whole list is there. We're going to talk about all of those things. I think it's like 45 different fucking things. So this might go upwards of 2.5, 3 hours, depending on how much Fuego has to say on the ones that he's by himself on. But I think all of us, brevity would be our friends tonight. Truly. You know what I mean? So let me go run and take care of that, and I'll be back in a moment to get this party started.
Yeah,
Marcia, have you started watching the first one we're going to talk about, Alice in Borderland? Oh, it's really good. It finishes the story.
I need to.
Really?
I need to.
Yeah.
I was about to say because they got
this weekend.
It finishes the story. Like there's not really it finishes it.
If I'm not mistaken, they got canceled.
Oh, I don't know if they got canceled, but either way they wrapped up the story. So
well, that's good.
All right, so you guys talk. I'll be back in a minute. Sorry, I'm too big. I'm too big to squeeze my
Shush not. No, I mean, the biggest thing for me was that I was sick for like a week and a half and nasty, having to get both a steroid and antibiotics, and so good times. And then today was my first time actually imbibing anything nasty for a long period of 2 weeks, and so hanging tough with him, and doing our best. But so everybody, viewer wise, Marcia has made her relocation to South Carolina, which is rad status, rightfully so, for a new job, and so give some thoughts, at least in vague variety, right? I mean, are you pumped?
Happy. I'm really happy. We got it's been super busy. So you're going to see most of my reviews for tonight are going to be from September, October, because November, December, I got slammed. But it's been real fun. It was hard. The transition was hard just to get here, but once we got here, it was pretty solid. We got a nice new home, and everybody here is super friendly, and the trees. I mean, it rains like 3 days a week, I feel like, here. It's just been crazy raining. And the boys I got them rain boots and stuff so they could go splash around in the puddles, which I thought
those
was
were
amazing.
Very nice. And we've been dealing with rain the last day and a half, but drastically different. So
it's great. No, you needed it. It's really bad. So that's awesome. And then like for Christmas, I was able to drive up to Tennessee. My family live in the Knoxville area, so it was about a 4.5-hour drive up there with the kids, and we got there like the Thursday night, so the 22nd, and that morning everything was frozen over because that's when that big storm hit. So I got there the night before, so I wouldn't be driving through the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah. It was actually affecting some of my sports betting, where I was just kind of like, do I want to put on this? And then anyway.
It was interesting. And then it snowed. So the kids got to see their first snow. It was hilarious to me because Alex was like, why is it so cold? It never got this cold in Arizona. And I'm like, yeah, no, it doesn't get that cold.
And I have like the weatherly transition of a cat that I'm dealing with currently, because we got Michi like back in May, and a drastic difference in said regard. So, interesting how kids handle it.
The movie, Mike, the time difference isn't too bad right now because it's only 2 hours, and I have tomorrow off, so I'm not worried about being up late.
Yeah, I've seen lots of peeps, even back here in, Arizona, where it's like, okay, we're gonna give everybody the Monday and kind of carry over. Cecil is about to make his reemergence here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the credit union that I deal with specifically for all of my compensation and so on. So, we are very stoked that Marsha Parker, gangster, badass, back here with us.
All right, so.
I'm glad I missed you guys. And I'm ready to talk some horror movies. I haven't discussed any entertainment content in weeks. So it's due.
It's all been like boiling and building up within you.
Well, let's do it then. So, just real quick, let's shout out the people that are here. We got Jason Gracie, Leah Ruse, I think maybe. We got Movie Mike, Francis Chainsaw Grimp, Savannah Christina Heffron. Good to see y'all. Jay McKay is here, and Ben Grimm has joined the fight. So. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah.
Let's start off with the first one. We're just going to go alphabetical, like the list below. And Alice in Borderland Season 2 just dropped like a week ago.
One of the few instances where I will step away and let you guys roll.
Yeah, well, Alice in Borderland Season 2 dropped about a week ago. Marsha and I covered Season 1 at one point last year. I think it might have been in a review roundup also, but I know we covered a different one in actual review form. But nonetheless, we both really liked the first season, and I was very eager to watch the second, so I did. And the interesting thing in the first season was, if you haven't watched Alice in Borderland, basically at the very beginning, a bunch of people are somehow transported to this version of Tokyo, or I don't know if it was Tokyo, but... this version of their city.
It was Korean, yeah.
It might be Korean. I'm not sure which one it is. But nonetheless, I'm trying. Let's find out. Let's make sure we give proper accreditation here. Alice in
and I did watch the first season, if I recall correctly.
Japanese. Okay, I was right.
Yeah.
So basically, all these people are transported to this place or this version of Tokyo. I believe it is Tokyo, but someplace in Japan, and they are basically directed to enter these games of death. and everyone is assigned a visa, and you have a timer on the visa, and within that time you have to join a game, otherwise a satellite shoots you with a laser from space and kills you.
So you die anyway, so you might as well play.
Exactly.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
So the first season was all about them trying to beat all of these things, and the difficulty was determined by the card level, because all the games were associated with a different playing card. So all the cards, ace through 10, were addressed in the first season, and then at the very end of the first season, when this core group of people that you've gotten to know, once they are all, having survived these games, then they find out, like, all these giant blimps enter the city and drop down these massive versions of all the face cards. And so there's a whole new set of games waiting to be played, and that's what the second season is. The second season is all of the face card games, which are much more deadly, much more crazy, and the whole thing does wrap up the storyline. So
really,
yes, it's
I totally forgot about that aspect of the storytelling, and so
it's really, really cool. All the survivors from the first season come back, and some people that you didn't think would come back. So it's really well done. The acting. The only issue I had this season was there were about 3 moments in all 8 episodes where it felt like they were playing on unearned emotion. But outside of that, it was awesome. The first season, they would do 1 game per episode, if I remembered correctly, kind of thing. But this season, they split the games up where, they would start 1 game halfway through an episode, and, so the episode would end halfway through the game, and so you're immediately, crack, you're like, oh, what happens? How do they get out of this one?
The emotional
so, I binged it so fast. Yeah, Marsha, when you start it, set aside some time, because you're going to be click, click, click. It's that kind of show.
Yeah.
Thomas Prado, what's your favorite movie of 2022, and what do you look forward to in 2023? We're going to be recording specific. Fuego and I are going to record the top 10 of 2022, the top 10 most anticipated of 2023, and probably the top 6 or top 10 favorite TV horror of 2022 as well. So we plan to record that. If we have enough energy, we'll try and do it tonight. Otherwise, we'll have to record it remotely tomorrow, because I'd like to release them this coming weekend. Because I'm going to be in Flagstaff, so I'd love to have those episodes for Sunday, or at least one of them for Sunday. Because ideally, we can see Megan this week and record a review for Friday before I go to Flagstaff on Friday. So,
Oh, Megan, do you guys have a pass for Megan, or?
we have access to a screening.
Yeah. With that dancing number,
it's okay,
right?
Mars. I know. We knew that was going to be the big change for you.
Yeah, I have to pay for my own stuff again.
And you have to wait till release day and stuff.
And I have to wait. Yeah.
But at least we'll be able to tell you if it's worth your time or money.
That's true. That is true. That's valuable.
Alex Namtvet. I don't know if I said that at all right, but I would love to think I did. Lapcat20, by the way, I love your screen name, Lapcat. I messed up already. I guess 2023 is my year. What, were you supposed to go to the gym and you didn't? Because I'm in your boat, if that's the case.
Yeah, we're on my first day, for goodness sake. I mean, come on, guys.
But yes, so to round out Alice in Borderland Season 2, because I'm the only one that's watched it yet, very worth your time.
And
if the premise sounds good, or if you watched Season 1 and enjoyed it, definitely sit down and and watch the rest of the story with Season 2.
Yeah.
The thing is, a lot of people speculated after Season 1, what's actually going on? Where are they all? Is this actually the city? Have they time traveled? Is this robots? Is it aliens? What's going on?
That was something
and the final episode addresses all of it. It's really cool how they do it.
Because of the fact that I did I was late to the party with the previous season, and I didn't think they made that concrete.
No, they didn't. They absolutely didn't. No, and that's the thing. Arisu, our main character from the first season, he returns as the main character of this season, and at one point he's confronted with a character where he's like, "You have to answer my questions," and they agree, and then he asks what's going on, and they say this whole scenario, and the show shows you this whole scenario, oh, it's this, and it shows you this, and it shows you this. And then it goes back to the character, and she's just like, I'm kidding, that's not what it is at all. And then she tells a whole new thing, and the show like shows you all this and all this. So it's really clever, because I think they knew that all of these people had theories, and they know certain groups are going to be disappointed.
I've seen some
so they kind of gave everyone a
yeah.
little shine
Yeah.
in that explanation.
Yeah, I've seen some negativity.
I loved
on,
it. I think Alice in Borderland Alice in Borderland is a 2-season show, is a fucking fantastic piece of media.
Yeah, I saw some negativity on, like, you know, Collider coming soon and a few other places where
I loved it.
Maybe it didn't veer into the explanation that they were, you know.
Yeah, it's possible.
For. So, yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the next thing, which is a Fuego thing, I believe, which is American Carnage.
All right. So, if you want more Jenna Ortega, you most definitely have it in this particular film. You know, this is one that just kind of solidified the fact that this girl, between Scream, between...
You said it right, Norwegian here. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, good job.
Yeah, between Scream, between... goodness, everything else. Wednesday, specifically, more so than anything. Axe. I mean, yeah. Yeah, she did
Scream,
a smaller film in this particular regard, which I totally enjoyed. It's very much about, like, classism in this particular film, and about immigration and how people are processed properly when it comes to, you know, okay, you are living, you're working in the United States. It may tip some, just, you know, people's personal politics, I guess, and, you know, without getting, like, nastily into it. But I definitely enjoyed it. She pairs up with Homeboy, who I am seeing in the, you know...
What are you looking for? The name?
No, I was just looking at the same guy. But, yeah, so it's very much about, you know, who is hanging around and who is part of the process, and with all of the crackdowns that are going down as far as, yeah... Lots of...
So, worth people's time, or...?
Moderately, I suppose. This is very much like my personal favorite of the year, which is Soft and Quiet, where it's very much, like, pushing racial buttons, and I don't really know, you know, what to say or how much
It's not everyone's cup of tea.
Not at all. Yeah. So,
You're doing a very good job by tiptoeing around this.
I'm trying to dance around, man. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Where I could, and one of the biggest selling points about, you know, both this film and Soft and Quiet is the fact that they're both films that explore very rough topics about, like, racial dynamic, and they're not, like, positive about people who look like me, and so that's where it's tough.
It's an anti-white movie?
Not so much. I mean, this is more so like a, like, Hispanic, you know, Hispanic, if I'm going to be positive about
Hispanic.
That. Fuego, man. I mean, come on, man. But, yeah, it's, like, all of the revelations over the course of the film are gross and yet maybe funny, depending upon your personal perspective. But, yeah, American Carnage.
Where does the Carnage come in place? Like...
Well, the Carnage comes...
The political aspect and the cultural aspect. What's going on?
Spoilers? Do you want to talk
about... just what's the premise?
Okay, so Jenna Ortega, along with our main guy, who is Fro Dude, their parents are... So it's essentially like, were you born in the States and your parents came over illegally? So you're a American citizen, but your parents are not, and there is a big crackdown. It's like very much a Trump sort of film, an indictment of everything that was going down back when he was still controlling this country, and yeah, it gets rougher and rougher. But I mean, we're talking about eating immigrants. Okay. That's the only thing that I will say. So.
Cannibalism.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
All right, well, let's just, I mean, since you brought it up, let's talk about Soft and Quiet.
Yeah.
Since you brought it up.
Okay, Soft and Quiet
Get rid of
is
it.
in my favorites of the year. This is not a horror movie. It is very much a dark thriller, and I mean, most of my personal favorites, The Menu, I mean, dark thrillers, but it's when you have this examination of horrible behavior, and most notably from people who look like me. It's tough in said regard. It's very rough to stomach, if I'm gonna be really, really about it. And this is a film that was kind of just, shoved under the proverbial rug, like the front rug, where they're like, yeah, we're gonna shove that shit under there, and we're not gonna really talk too much about a disgusting racial dynamic. It's a really awful film as far as the stuff that it explores, and it made me feel far more uncomfortable than like The Whale or various others, because it's most definitely not a movie that you want to go in knowing anything about, because 10 minutes in, when I realized what this movie was about, I was like, holy fuck.
So is it one of those like The Nightingale for me, which was
Yes.
a fantastic movie that I will never watch again?
Well, I've watched it twice because I showed...
Okay,
No.
In other words.
Well, I mean, I showed Catherine because it's about women, and it's very much about women who are trying to endure a dynamic where not all of them are necessarily on the same page. I have to be super vague because it's about racism, and it's fucked up what happens in this movie. And
it's women racism, so it's feminist.
It sounds
man.
like Karen racism. Like
maybe,
black
but
women.
Maybe, but it's very much like women in a dynamic of color that goes across both gender boards. So, and yet that is still so spoilery, because you watch this movie and you have no idea what is going on, and then about 15 minutes in, Marsha, and you're just like, and you turn your head and you're just like, wow, that's what this is about. Okay.
Well, that's intriguing.
Right.
See, that's a more intriguing review than
Blumhouse.
the racism side. Like I just. We're so inundated with that on a day-to-day on the news cycle that I just have
on
no
both
interest
sides.
in spending my free time watching something about that same stuff personally, unless it's really worth my time. So at least that sentence made it intriguing, but okay.
Yeah, this one is
very
very
Ben
much
Grimm says it's on a lot of best of 22 lists.
Yeah, it's a character exploration for fucking sure, and I mean, for better or for worse.
My favorite type of movie.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move on from Soft and Quiet.
Yeah.
Let's go back up to the beginning of the list and move on to another Fuego. The next two, I think, are Fuego. Blood Relatives.
Okay, so...
again, God, we got like 40 of them.
Okay, so this one I will speed through. So, this is a Shudder, and it's...
This is another Josh Rubin one, right?
Yes, it is.
I love Josh Rubin.
Although he's only in one scene.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but dude, I love Josh Rubin, man. This is a vampire movie, and everybody knows how much I love the fangers and so on and so forth. So this is one where, very much so. I mean, like credit to you. I mean, I wouldn't have been on screen as a fanger if not for Cecil. And so, Blood Relatives is interesting because of the fact that you have a guy that I was looking at him, and I was like, dude, he's in Glass Onion. He is the hippie stoner in Glass Onion. Yeah, Glass Onion is great. It
just barely hit Netflix this week. So
and it was in theaters a few months ago, so that was where I
don't go to theaters.
I know you don't, mofo. Yeah, but so
movie Mike Fangbanger, I love it.
Yeah,
I can't take credit for that.
Banger.
There's that's from some show. They call vampire lovers Fangbangers.
Yeah, but so check it out, man. A very amusing film in the fact that it's essentially about a guy who impregnated at a particular point a lovely lady, and then he has like a half vampire sort of daughter, and it's about him kind of making friends and being cool with his daughter, and it's very It's low budge. I mean, let's be fair.
I like
here.
stuff like
you
that,
know?
though.
Yeah, but it's about the endearing aspect and the humor, most
Honestly,
notably,
I feel
about
like,
the both of them, which
to
is
be
really
honest,
cute.
I feel like the easiest horror monster to do low budget is a vampire. Zombies cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Monsters cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I've been a vampire.
Slashers, I guess slashers. Yeah. But vampires are still so, like, it's just fangs, holes, and blood, you know, depending on how you do it. Unless you go crazy with, like, the slasher vampire sort of thing. But, yeah, I mean, you can, like, I feel like you could tell really good personal vampire stories without needing to go huge budget. You know what I mean?
This one was cute, Marsha. It was very much about the father-daughter dynamic, and
I think I would like this one.
Yeah, it's good. It's on Shudder, and AMC Plus as well. But just the fact that she tracks him down and she's like, "Yo, motherfucker, you're not gonna be a deadbeat dad. You're gonna, like, hang out with me, and we're gonna figure things out." And he's averse at first, but just seeing them become friends is really cute. It's endearing. It's solid.
All right.
So.
I like the the poster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an old school feel.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it feels like it's a nice feel good vampire horror movie.
Yeah. So she essentially finds him when he's trying to stay at this hotel and, like, black out all the windows and stuff, and she's like a half-breed. She's very much like D from Vampire Hunter D, where she does not have the same sort of afflictions, I guess, that a normal vampire would. So she's a half-breed. She's a Dampier, so to speak, which is what I always love to talk about. So, yeah.
All right, so next up is the theatrically released Bones and All.
Yeah.
We did a trailer reaction to this, but I don't even remember it. So.
Yeah, and this is another one that I will breeze through because I didn't.
Oh, was that last one breezed through?
I'm sorry. Cecil's right.
For Fuego, it was.
Okay,
that's true.
That's sorry. True. Oh, I miss you, Marsha. You're right. Okay, if I'm gonna breeze through, I did not buy into the love story.
Okay,
there was a weird.
Is this a vampire thing too, or
this is a cannibal thing?
Okay,
this is a cannibal thing. You find out very early in the proceedings that the girl on the left side is like she has a hunger for human flesh. And then she meets up with Chalamet later on in the proceedings, and there was another
Doom Boy?
Yeah, and there's another guy who is like he almost like shepherds her in, a very old gentleman early on in the film, and then he turns out to be somebody who has issues with the two of them because he's not quite hardcore villain. I don't want to spoil things.
Okay,
but this is from the same. Writer-director that did Call Me By Your Name, and so it's very esteemed, but yet a strange sort of
I love you, medium rare.
Yeah, that's a good line.
Yeah. It's a very strange film.
I thought the same thing.
It's a very strange film. But the biggest thing for me was that I did not buy into the love story, and everybody in the chat. Okay, if you guys love this movie.
That's kind of cool. Cannibals that can smell each other to identify other cannibals.
Yes, exactly. That's very much. Cool. It's but yet the gimmick wears itself out in my estimation.
Gordon Green plays a cannibal, dude. Did someone eat him? I hope.
Yeah.
After watching fucking all 3 Halloween movies.
Okay. Since there is discussion about this, okay, guys, I had issues with this because I didn't. Sorry, I've been sick all week. I'm still coughing.
Oh, it's good to know.
No, that's why I'm.
He started the whole thing.
Yesterday was my last day of meds and everything, but the last thing I will say is that I didn't buy the love story, and that I'm sorry, Cecil, I wasn't trying to do that. It's just I haven't talked excessively in the last 2 weeks. I'm sorry. So the big thing for me was that I didn't buy into the love story because of the fact that they didn't give it enough time. And one of the most notable sequences in this is where they are out in the lake and they're there's the fireworks, and they're like in the river, like lake sort of situation, and I felt like that scene was cut heavily because this movie was already 2 hours and 20 minutes. And,
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. And so I felt like a lot of character development was lost in the editing process, and so this could have been. And I didn't hate this movie, but it did not live up to the expectation, and so that's where I'm at.
Fair enough. Next up is something that I can jump in on. Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, man. First couple episodes, man, were
I
really
did this
good.
one.
Yeah, so I loved it. I mean, obviously, as with any anthology, some episodes were definitely better than other episodes.
Did you like the rat episode with the dude,
Yeah.
like pillage and everything?
Yeah, the rat episode was cool.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the list of episodes so I can speak more concretely on this.
This was probably, and I'm sorry.
It's the first time I've tried.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry.
This is probably one of the best anthologies I've seen ever.
Amen.
Oh, wow,
man.
ever.
Yeah,
Like,
amen, Marsha.
Other than like, Love of Robots ones, but like
Those
this
are
one
great,
was
yeah.
really well done and kept me intrigued. And I liked almost every story. I mean, they were all, like you said, they weren't all very strong, but they were all still pretty strong.
Yeah, it's very Tales from the Crypt in the regard where, like, I mean Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt, whatever, where you have very solid entries, and then there's others where, like, it was a little bit lacking. But did you like the one with, like, Lincoln, right? I mean,
the murmuring. Actually, the bird one. I thought it was okay, but I thought it was one of the weak. It ended, and I was like, wait, that's the one they chose to end on?
It was week 2, dude. So
a weekly. Okay, so I'm looking at them right now. So the first one was Lot 36.
Yeah, and that
To
one.
pay off his debt, a
that
man
was about
secures a storage unit filled with mysterious items to sell, but soon finds himself in a debt. I don't remember that at all.
Okay, that was the guy
That
who
one was
had.
interesting.
That was the guy. It took place in the 90s, and there was the racial dynamic a little bit.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that the guy had his homie who was a black dude who was like holding down that spot, and there was the Hispanic woman who was like, "Please, you took over my unit, and there's nothing of value there," and he was just like, yeah, he thumbed his nose at her, and it was like
Literally,
such a shit
wow, it's gone.
Yeah, that one I
episode
thought
2
actually
was
was better. Yeah.
Graveyard Rats. Yeah, I remember the rat one.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
the Graveyard Rat one.
Graveyard
Oh my
Rats
God.
was one of the best, and I think there was a prominent director who did that one, if I remember.
The Autopsy. A seasoned sheriff investigates a dead body in the woods and
That
calls
was
an
so cool.
medical
I
examiner.
love that.
Yeah, I did like the Autopsy one.
Yeah, that one was good too.
The
I get those two
Outside,
confused,
longing
actually.
to fit in at work, an awkward Stacy begins to use a popular lotion. Oh, that was the stuff one, right?
Yes, yeah.
Really hard until the very end, and I was just like, oh, okay, that got kind of cool, but it was really hard to watch.
Yeah.
Pickman's model, a
Yeah.
young art student, makes a macabre painter named... Oh, yeah, that right. Oh, that was with dude from Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah, Christopher Lloyd, right?
Crispin
Yeah.
Glover, yeah.
Oh, Crispin Glover, yeah.
Crispin Glover.
Oh, fuck, that's right.
Yeah, where he was the artist that kept coming back years later and, was driving that dude crazy. Dreams in the Witch House. Years after his twin sister's death, a researcher ventures into the dark, mysterious realm with the aid of a special drug, determined to bring her back.
Yeah.
I think that one was okay. The Viewing was a wealthy recluse hosts 4 accomplished guests at his stylish mansion for a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but their intrigue soon turns to terror.
Yeah, he's been trying to put together a confirmation for a second season, which is exciting.
I gotta say,
obviously.
the fact that I just read most of those and I only really remember like 2 of them, that doesn't really speak well for the series.
Yeah.
Marcia, do you remember like
I
all of
remember
them?
it all. Like,
Okay.
when you read it out, I was like, oh yeah, that one. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one was okay. Like
It just must not have stuck with me as much as I was hoping it would.
the one with the painter, that one was. It was very time periody, and just like once you got through it, you're like, okay. But it was also kind of just
Agreed. Yeah.
kind of slow and kind of sleepy. But I think overall it was really good storytelling to me.
Yeah,
and
I
kind
feel
of
like it was
visually.
front-loaded in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
As far as like the stronger episodes
I
being.
agree with that. Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. Keeping things going here.
Yeah.
Next up is Christmas Bloody Christmas.
Oh.
The Terminator mixed with Silent Night, Deadly Night, where it's basically
I like this movie.
like department store animatronic Santa Claus goes crazy and starts killing people. So
it's really
everyone really liked it. The thing that I didn't like
bag,
was
though.
it was a very mixed bag. You're either on board with the dialogue or you're not.
That's what I was going to ask you, because it is so dialogue centric in the first
felt,
40 minutes.
A lot of it
dude.
felt real. A lot of it felt written. Like that's the thing. It was kind of a mixed bag. The dialogue was both good. Yeah, it was. It's almost like if Kevin Smith made a horror movie. But the problem is,
said,
it didn't.
What's the Dazed and Confused guy?
Richard Linklater?
Richard Linklater. Somebody said that it was very much him making a horror movie in some ways because it was so dialogue.
I would say Kevin Smith is more apropos.
I like the two of them talking and flirting early in the movie, though.
No, I mean it was okay. Like some of the dialogue felt natural, some of it didn't. But the gore was like almost not gore at times. Yeah, like. They were trying to go crazy with it, and then the Santa Claus gets destroyed so many different times and continues going and doesn't look nearly as good as I was hoping.
Yeah, where the car runs over him and shit.
It's very much like an 80s movie just coming out in 2022.
Even with the film grade they used.
A lot of people liked it. It didn't really please me like I was hoping it would.
Okay,
I wish I had watched it.
It's on Shudder, I think you'd like it, Marshall.
Yeah.
It did look. It's never too late, right?
No, it's not. I mean, I do think you would enjoy it. It's just, I'd be interested to see your thoughts on it, honestly, because it follows the main character is a female bartender, and
she owns a record shop.
She's not unlike you, Marsha. A complete hoe bat. No, I'm just kidding.
I actually
because I'll be like, what is this?
I actually identified a little bit with the guy who's trying very much to
We'll talk about that. That's going to be towards the end, Alex, because that's a V, and we're going alphabetical.
Yeah, and so I mean, the guy who was trying to woo her, I was punk dude.
I liked him.
Whatever.
He was very representative of my kind of. If I had been thin, yeah, I feel like he's very, because he was just trying to be cool and not trying to get in there, but at the same time trying to be there for when she wants him to get in there, kind of thing. And also
trying to woo her.
He's trying to get out of the friend zone.
Trying to woo her with discussion of pop culture, man. I mean, you and I are both about that. You
saw his fucking game. At the very beginning, when he's explaining why she shouldn't go with that other dude just to bang him that night.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, why would you do that? We could go have fun and drink and all this.
So I watched this with Lady Catherine, and her biggest condemnation of this movie...
Condoms. Sorry.
Too many F words. Too many F words.
That's what I heard from the other people, too. Yeah. I didn't notice that. I'll be perfectly honest, it didn't register with me.
It's like fuck every
other sentence is what I heard.
Every other sentence.
But honestly, it literally didn't register to me.
It's back east, Marcia, so it's taking place in
or maybe
upstate New York, Is that commonplace where everybody's like fucking blah 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 fucking blah 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 blah? I mean...
Dude, I can't. My favorite place is Boston, and
and they drop the F-bombs constantly.
And one of my favorite people is Susie. So I mean,
amen. Yeah, all of us.
It's
a good movie, man.
And Panos Cosmatos directed the viewing. Oh, directed the viewing. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I was a big fan of this. If we're gonna just cut it out, if we're gonna Joey Gladstone that shit, I did like this movie.
The Blob motorcycle. That's my answer for you.
Yeah, but the Blob motorcycle. No, if we're gonna go with that particular,
the Blob,
if we're gonna go with that particular Dylan, god damn it, all right. But yeah, I like this movie, man. I did enjoy it, and it's a little harsh on the dialogue sort of centricities, so to speak. But yeah, I was into it, and the dynamic between the two of them. Oh, I want to spoil, but I'm not going to.
No.
Yeah, something that happens. I felt legit sad, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep with it.
All right. So next up is a Shudder movie called Deadstream.
in my tops of the year.
Watch this. You guys gave me extra time to watch this.
I love this movie, man.
Yeah, it was fun. It's the reason I gravitated towards watching it. Like, I didn't love it as much as everyone else, but I did really enjoy it, and I did. So this is the team that did the last entry in VHS 99.
Okay.
So like the
one where they were in like hell or whatever.
I believe so. Yeah. So
the girl's like, yeah.
I
was just watching it last night.
So it's very talented team, and this was really funny because it's a YouTuber that decides to go to a haunted house.
That's why I like this so much.
To prove that there's, to experience the ghosts, of course, not thinking there's going to actually be ghosts, and then there's actually fucking shit there. And it's one of my favorite conceits from ever since Grave Encounters, Paranormal Activity.
That's why I should have watched this movie.
Yeah, it's right up my alley.
Evil Dead 2, Marsha.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Evil Dead 2 mixed in. Like, that's the thing. It goes it goes a little crazier than those kinds of movies tend to, which is why it was a lot of fun. I need to give it another look, honestly, because after my first watch, I wasn't super impressed, but I don't know if I was just not in the best mood. I watched it alone. I feel like this would be a really enjoyable watching with some drinks with some friends on a big screen.
We should watch it together, Cecil.
Do a watch party? Yeah, we could probably do that.
Let's do a watch party.
All right, so yeah, Deadstream.
Yeah.
Worth a look.
Yeah,
and Marsha, if you haven't seen it yet, definitely give it a try.
Yeah, most def, Marsha. This one is fun.
Where's my pen and paper?
Yeah. Lots of people did not like when that particular character shows herself, like halfway through. They thought it altered the dynamic, lost some steam, whatever. But I was into it, man.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah,
that
was into
weird.
it. I was into it.
You'll see.
Yeah.
No,
I like the main guy though, and he wrote and directed it too.
Shot?
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, dude, talk about just doing it. Yeah.
All right, so next up, I think the next couple are another set of Fuego ones.
I'm going to be as brief as possible.
Don't worry, darling.
Fuck this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, that is most definitely how I'm going to be.
Okay.
And most notably...
I like that.
Yeah, and most notably because of the fact that this is very much a movie that is up its own ass. And
it got more heat because of the behind-the-scenes things than the actual
much
in
more
front
so.
of the camera stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because of the fact that Olivia Wilde, who directed this film, is this is the movie, Marsha.
Is this on HBO now?
It's on HBO Max. Yeah, that's where I watched it.
The picture to know it.
Okay, so Marsha, I have to ask you then. Didn't it feel like it was? Like it didn't finish itself.
Well, she said she didn't finish it.
I didn't finish it because it's too hard to watch.
Well, it doesn't finish itself.
Oh my goodness!
The last 20 minutes, 20
yeah.
So the closest I'm going to get is I watched the pitch meeting for it, and it made me laugh.
Okay, Stepford Wives, obviously, sort of vibe, but it goes into a different territory. This film really pretentiously thought that it was awesome when it was not, and that's about
I
the
got annoyed
extent.
Mostly because she had so many opportunities to be smart and to
Florence Pugh
show that she was smarter than the guy that's pulling the strings of everything, and then she didn't.
That's right. Because
overplayed her hand, and she just word vomited and made herself look crazy, and then ended up okay, well, no one's gonna follow you now.
Because the guy pulling the proverbial strings is homie who played Kirk. What's his name? Kirk in the reboot.
Did you see Christopher Pike?
No. Dude who played Kirk in the new Star Trek movies. Chris Pine, I want to say. Chris Pine, maybe?
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine, yeah.
I was close. It was a weird...
Yeah. He is good in it, though. I thought that he was good in it. I didn't even think that Florence Pugh was bad in this movie, or the boy band guy. But it was the fact that the script really sucked, and when you get those proverbial revelations that you didn't stick around for, it did not satisfy. So, at least for me. So.
I kept going back to finish it, and then I just never did because it wasn't enough. I watched 95% of the movie, and I'm just
God, I fucking hate that.
Oh man, this is where I want to spoil it.
It's like what you said, Fuego. You said Movie Mike, same exact, just a different word for what you said. I tried to watch this, never finished. Jaime said the key word, pretentious. Yeah, no better description. Up its own ass. I can't stand movies like that.
It had all the elements there.
Yeah.
But then it just never got to the point.
Yeah.
Like, what are we trying to do here?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Very much so. That was the way this film felt, unfortunately.
All right, next up is End of the Road, which I think both of you guys
Marcia and I
watched,
can
right?
talk about this.
This movie was actually really well done.
Yeah, this movie was fun, man. You get Luda, and you get
Luda!
and their brother and sister, and they have to contend with some shitty white people, man.
Like,
I mean, that's...
It was just like, almost like it kind of felt like a Ben Stiller movie, except for like horror.
It did,
like,
yeah, it did
what
have
could
some
go
humorous
wrong was
aspects.
going
Yeah.
wrong. Like, it started off like it's kind of sad because she was like, oh, she's a widow. She's having to sell her house and take her kids cross country.
And also the
They're
fact that
very
she has a
upset
kid
about it,
who's like not into what they're doing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then, and then her, brother comes along. He's, obviously portrayed as the family mess up, the black sheep, per se. And, but he's there for his sister and really trying to support her and her family and trying to help her through this really hard time. And, and things start to happen, not very good. And, again, there is a lot of that racial experience in this, but at the same time, it's not heavy-handed.
No, it's not,
like,
which is what
it's like,
which I enjoyed about it. Yeah.
Like, this is situational awareness kind of like that's what it felt like to me. But then it just like it was also a little bit of a mystery and just a thriller, and it was fun. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. One of the bigger things for me was that I was surprised how violent it was. In a couple sequences specifically, I was just like, oh, they're really going for it, which was amusing. And yet they maintained the humor and like
shit
anytime,
got right by me.
Anytime they were on screen together, man, Luda and Latifah were awesome together. They had genuine chemistry.
Would I enjoy this?
I don't know if I would like say, "Hey, watch 90 minutes of this movie," but dude, it was good. Yeah, it was good.
I think it's a fun movie to have on. Like if it's like a Friday night, you just want to have something fun to watch.
Okay.
All right. I would. I mean,
it's a tough thing when so much else comes out.
I probably watched it, but I don't think it would be. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, Luda's smoking down in the movie and whatever.
Would appreciate it in front of children, but I think you guys would appreciate it together.
And there's F-bombs.
Fair enough.
No, dude, it was good. It was one of my biggest surprises of the year, I would say. So.
All right, so next up is another one that Fuego did.
Yeah.
So this is one that I definitely wanted to
see
that I just did. Well, yeah, but I didn't want to pay full price for at-home release. I might as well just buy the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
If I'm going to spend $7 on it, I might as well just spend $12 and get the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Because this looks great. So it's called Fall, Marcia?
Yeah. It's very gimmicky in the regard of the fact that, okay, you have friends who are doing that sort of, like, challenge.
It's two friends that climb up this fucking transmitter tower, right? Or whatever the fuck it is. Mm-hmm. And then the ladder breaks free below them.
Yeah.
And so what are they going to do to get down?
But dude, one of the biggest things is that
the only thing you can do, fireman that shit.
What's that? You gonna slide the pole all the way down?
Yeah. Now
it'd be like this.
This movie would have been absolute dog shit if not for the fact that the acting is really good.
Yeah.
And that the cinematography is fantastic.
Oh,
and
dude,
so,
I know it would make my stomach drop. That's why. Is it worth me buying? Because if so, I'll buy it.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Really?
I mean, rent it for
$6 or whatever?
Well, no. I mean, rent it on the Redbox where I got
it. Oh, for $2.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
All right, yeah, that's worth it.
But man, massively awesome. It does. I saw a few of these films this past year where it was like somebody dies when you're on a climbing sort of expedition. So. Just like I saw a few films like Barbarian, where they're like, "Oh, we all double booked Airbnb." And I just watched another one the other night where it was another one of those, dude. So yeah, it was the one with Justin Long, House of Darkness. I watched that again the other night, and it's another double book, and he was in both of those movies. Anyway, yeah, Fall is good though, guys. I'm not gonna go so far as to say it's amazing or anything, but it has its concept in cognizance, and it's really good in said regard. So, yeah.
Next up, Marsha, I think you both watched the new Goodnight Mommy?
This is where I'm very curious about you, Marsha, because I didn't even want to rewatch this because I loved the first so much.
What was it? I missed
Goodnight
The
Mommy,
American
dude.
version of
The
Goodnight
remake of Goodnight Mommy.
Oh, I really liked it.
I did too, and I didn't think I was going to.
I didn't. I think I realized by watching this movie, I think I realized what I lost in translation in the original movie.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe it was done a little different. Maybe because I didn't go back and rewatch the German version, but on this
only
one,
moderately.
I understood, like, oh, because I didn't understand why they were like so mad at their mom for like the whole time. I'm like, why are they like brutalizing this poor woman? And then you know, and then the end happened. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess I don't really understand. Was the kid just crazy? Like, what's happening? But then this one, I was like, oh. Okay, I get
So should I watch this first or watch the other one first? Or...
I prefer the German version, but that's just me. But,
wait, so does that one way or the other? You guys both said the opposite? Perfect. Thank you. Very useful. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, put it this way. Do you want to read subtitles or not?
No.
So.
All right. If that's the only difference,
really
then
close
sure.
In films, they were really close. I didn't see really any difference. I think this made it.
I think some of the motivations and the finale are a little bit different in the remake, but aside from that, they're both comparably awesome, honestly. And and Marsha, that says a lot for me. Where I was primed. I was primed to hate the remake, dude. I was
primed to hate it because it's on Prime.
Maybe. No. I was like, okay, I was locked in because I loved the original film so much. I was ready to hate it, I guess, and so the fact that it won me over says a lot. So
yeah, I thought it was. I watched it with like 100% attention.
Did you watch it with Pete? What did he think?
I didn't watch it with Pete. I watched it with because I mostly watch these movies while I'm doing laundry because it's the only alone time I have, really.
Both
so I don't have to worry about kids coming in and out.
Yeah, they're both on Prime.
And I was like, I sat down and was watching the movie because I thought it was really well done. Like it got me. So anyway, I don't know. And Naomi Watts is great, and the kid was great too. Like,
yeah,
I could feel like.
Dare I say, I think the kid was better in the American remake than.
Yeah, I felt that he was so torn. Like because he's like, this is my mom, but something's not right. Like something's off, and I don't understand and he couldn't understand what was off in it, and
especially because I don't know if they used
the son. Like I felt that
especially because I don't know if they used two kids in the European version, but
I can rent Fall for $4.
But they only used one kid in. But that's spoilery. I should shut up. So yeah,
I can buy it for $9. Is it worth?
Because that reveal is, as Marsha knows, one of the big hallmarks of both films.
Is Fall worth $9, or should I just rent it?
No,
for
it's not worth $9.
Wow, it's not worth $9. Damn.
I mean, to own it, I guess it's
shit on it.
I guess it depends.
Shit on it, bitch.
Okay, I just had the opportunity the other day.
Get shit on.
Okay, so the director who did A Woman Walks Home at Night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So her new movie, which has Kate Hudson, and I love Kate Hudson.
Calm down.
Yeah, I know, I'm trying. But so I had the opportunity. I'm like, okay, rent for $5 or buy for $4, and I was just like, if I can buy for $4, of course I'm gonna. It was a red box sale, and so I was like, yeah, I'll buy for $4. I haven't watched it yet.
You buy for $4. It's so bad you throw it away anay.
Yeah. What can you do about it? Significantly, but as far as Marsha and I and our opinions, man, dude, I really liked it a lot more than I was anticipating the remake of Goodnight Mommy.
All right.
And I wasn't expecting much either because I wasn't a huge fan of the original.
Oh, I was though, dude. I loved that first film. I thought it was fucked up and disturbing.
I don't get it. I lost something in translation for sure. And then when I watched this, I was like, oh, I finally get why everybody was like, dang.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, because it's still thematically, like, maintained most of the major beats, I guess they say. So.
Yeah, and I was in 2 different headspaces, right? I think the first one came out right after I became a mom, and the second one.
Nobody is ever gonna forgive you on this channel, Marsha. I was talking when I did a Hail to Stephen King. Nobody is ever gonna forgive you for it.
Hey, you know
it's still the awesomest. Like, the fact that dude, the fact that you died on that hill, I love it.
She's still laying on that hill dead. All right, so Goodnight Mommy covered.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on to Grimcutty.
Oh, which I just watched the other night.
So
interesting commentary, man.
I actually liked Grimcutty. I thought it got a little ham-fisted when you ultimately found out what the. Marsha, did you watch this?
Yes, I watched it.
Okay. I liked the creature. I liked that we saw him as much as we did. I liked the creature. I didn't like the fact that he was a manifestation of the parents' words.
I think thirsty for creature movies.
I am. I'm a thirsty creature boy. You're not wrong.
All right.
Okay.
He was just a plastic big face mask.
I like it. It looked cool.
Honestly, I hated the design of the creature.
Fuck off.
But I liked what this film had to say.
That's so funny.
I
hated the message, liked the creature. Yeah. You liked the message, hated the creature.
Yeah.
And Marsha just hated everything.
well, I mean, okay, I did not like the girl with the hair in her face, the white girl who she's like, oh my, I'm like our main character girl. The daughter of, and it's like, oh, this girl was like, wow. And then she's like, oh, is she being like a mean wow or whatever? And that says so much about how, wow. Yeah, how we are perceived within social media because of the fact that, like, you have no inflection when it comes to how somebody just comments on something for you. But
yeah, they did base it on Momo, I think. Alex.
Yeah, this film had a lot to say, though, and it was very much something that I feel like would have been based on like creepypasta, and not bad though. Yeah. I mean, solid 3 stars for me.
No,
I would give it 3 also.
Maybe 2.5.
2.5.
Maybe 2.5. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
But good acting.
My favorite part was the Lister Grimcutty party, and there was
it felt very teeny in that regard. Like that bit was bad. Ugh.
I just and like the girl was like obsessed with like the soft spoken.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with you about that. The fact that she was like, and now we're just gonna let everything go.
Weird. The whole thing was really weird, and I didn't get it, and it was not made for me.
Isn't that a thing?
I didn't have those issues. All right, so next up is going to be the first season of Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, I wish I'd watched it yet.
I thought it was awesome. I got to be honest, I put together my list of my favorite horror TV of the year. This is number 2.
Wow.
This is up there for me. They did this so fucking brilliantly, and it is literally the prime example where you could show someone the movie, because the movie could technically be in continuity for this, outside of the fact that the color of Louis changes. This show is like 7 episodes, and it starts with the Christian Slater character from the movie, not him. Yeah, but he's now an older man, and this takes place now in 2021 or 2022, and that whole interview happened. But Louis is admitting that a lot of it was kind of lies and embellishment. So now he's telling the same story, but for real this time.
Interesting.
And the interviewer has fucking like a cancer, and so there's like layers. Now he's talking to this forever been alive vampire, and he's got cancer, and so like it's really, really fucking well done. Wow. It leans way more into the homosexuality of it all, but I didn't care at all. I was so invested in the story, so invested in the characters, like, and not that I should be bothered by that. Let's be clear.
Well,
it's just that there's a lot of people are distracted by that, and I was not. I feel like the story was serviced by the way everything was told.
Yeah,
and there are those allusions in, if not outright being stated, in the Anne Rice novels.
Yeah, big time.
Sure.
And
So,
most notably
so it
in,
makes total sense, and it was done so well, and it's honestly a boon for that sort of leaning into that in the storytelling, where it's like, it doesn't matter if it's heterosexual love or homosexual love. The story is fucking good, and it's entertaining, and the acting is amazing, and you buy into the relationship. And I dug the hell out of this, and it's gory as fuck.
Yeah, one of the most interesting things, despite having not watched this, one of my favorite vampire things is what Anne Rice explored, in the fact that it there is an intimacy about people that does not entail sex. And actual penetration or whatever, and it was a big thing.
There was penetration.
But it's a big thing. Most notably, Tale of the Body Thief is the one that I really recall.
I've never read any of them, but my older sister Stephanie loves them.
Yeah, excellent, man. Memlock the Devil, so goddamn good. But I specifically just subscribed to AMC Plus the other day because I had a sale.
Where vampires.
Yeah, so I can
vampires.
Shit. Marsha, lay it on us, man.
There's a lot of vampire stuff. There's a lot of zombie stuff.
But
the reason that I think this works so well is because the novel is cramped. I feel like in that movie, they didn't even get to the second half of what was in the movie.
Yeah.
They spent 7 episodes on what felt like the first half of the book, because they didn't even get, they just alluded to the Antonio Banderas character at the end of the first season, which was the second half of the original movie.
So
they're able to do so much. They can do a whole nother season
and also,
of interview. Then they can go into Vampire Lestat for a couple seasons. If they do that, where they're like, let me give the amount of seasons that each book deserves, it sets a precedent where you should be very excited, because then
the Mayfair.
No, I understand Mayfair Witches. I understand, but what I'm saying is, if they're taking 2 seasons to tell 1 book's worth of story, that should make you, as a King fan, excited that someone is willing to be like, oh, I'm going to invest multiple seasons in just 1 book. Instead of 1 season having to tell a whole story, let alone a single movie having to tell a whole story.
Truly. And that was the big thing with, just coming back to Earth about Hail to Stephen King and Mike Flanagan potentially, because it's
doing
still
Dark Tower.
Potentially doing Dark Tower. So, yeah.
All right,
Sorry, it's not Dark Tower. But,
Marcia, you love it, dude!
The Interview with the Vampire, I thought it was really well done. It was one of my favorite vampire movies of all time, obviously. It was so well done. It was an amazing vampire movie.
What did you think about the sequel,
when I saw this, I wasn't sure what to expect, and I loved it. I just couldn't stop. I couldn't look away. It was so well done. And like you said, the storytelling, the acting, the cinematography, it was just a masterpiece.
It really was.
I'm excited to see more. Yeah. This is when I sit down to invest time, especially in a television series, this is what I want out of it. I want something that's worth my time. And I definitely got that.
And this is one where we jumped on after the first, it was week 2, so the first 3 episodes had dropped, and we had to wait week by week for the next 4. And it was one that every time we got a new one, Donna and I were like, yeah, let's watch that. As long as Ari wasn't around, because Soren's too young to care. But we couldn't have Ari around for the show, but it was so good. It's crazy gory at times, and it's so appropriate. And even there's crazy shit. I had no idea what happened when Lestat and Louis really argue, for real, what Lestat fucking does. I was like, holy shit, this wasn't, I don't remember this from the movie.
I'm actually glad that I don't know, because
I almost just ruined it, it was, you know what I'm talking about, right, Marcia?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was like,
nice.
When Louis finds out Lestat can fly, essentially, it's intense. It's really fucking cool.
All right.
Bangerang, man! Oh, I'm exceedingly excited because
Yeah.
there's like a couple shows specifically. It's this one, and then it's AHS NYC.
Yeah, see, I'm still only...
Which
I'm-
are the two that I need to make my way through.
I'm only 3 episodes into that. I need to go back and finish it, but now I have the version of Hulu with commercials, so I'm very hesitant to go back to watch
Save that
shows
money, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all... Yeah.
NYC was the only one I did finish this.
You did?
November.
Do we have that on the
Oh, I don't have that
docket?
on the list,
If we
no.
don't have the docket, Marcia, tell us
Marcia,
briefly.
tell us about
Yeah.
American Horror Story. It finished, right?
It's pretty gay.
Yeah, it's all finished. It was so well done. I thought, given the last few series we've had with American Horror Story,
I
this one
like the
kind of
slasher
felt
80s
rooted.
one, honestly.
Yeah, and it was a, it was a serial killer murder mystery, mixed in with conspiracy, like, CDC disease control. So,
Yeah.
and it was all revolving around the I think it was like the 80s.
Macaulay
Ish,
Culkin
70s
is in
like
it.
gay
wanna
I think it was
say.
the early 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
What was it? The 80s or the 70s?
I think early 80s.
Well, I mean, if it was taking place in the 80s, like, that was that big time when NYC was still very rough, and the gay community was still trying to figure out a lot of stuff, and very prominent, but yet very savaged and persecuted, which fucking sucks because I love my gay friends.
At some point, it was very, like, kind of, I don't want to say Silence of the Lambs-ish, but without giving anything away. But it was, I mean, it was pretty...
The bondage aspect might harken
The bondage
to
wasn't
that.
really that bad, really, to be honest. There was a
They
little bit of it, but
played
it
up
wasn't a
pretty
big
significantly
deal.
in the promotional material.
And the promotion, yeah, but, like, it was really more heavily on, like, the murders and stuff like that. There was some aspects to it, but it was more of, obviously, the serial killer coming in, killing gay men, and nobody doing anything or caring about it.
Yeah.
And then, like, all of a sudden, it wasn't just the gay men, it was, like, there were gay women as well, who were dying from, like, this disease that just, like, kind of popped up, and they were
I was about to say, because
that
AIDS
was,
was
they
not
always
a
have
thing
a
with-
tie-in, right? They can't just do one type of horror. But it worked really well, and I thought everybody did a really great job. And I was, I think I was really into it until, like, the last episode. The last, like...
It's not the first time I've heard you
two
say that about
episodes,
AHS.
Yeah, the last 2 episodes, it was kind of like, ugh.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, the last...
That's just because there was a lot of, like, backstory of, like, retelling of what you meant, like, what you didn't know after the resolve. So the resolve happened, and then you go back through the people, and you're like, oh, okay.
The last season, if I recall correctly, was where they split it into like half of
that's
it.
when they did double feature.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like a double feature, but it was kind of like...
Better
it was
than that?
like an episode and a half of kind of like a commentary of each character and
Interesting.
their redemption line, I guess. It was... Or non-redemption. It was very... It's kind of hard to explain. You have to watch it.
I guess
wasn't
the
a big fan of it. I
non-redemption is
understand
like
it, but I wasn't
comeuppance,
a
right?
big fan.
So...
I'll finish it eventually, I guess.
No, I'm definitely going to finish that along
pretty
with
good
American Horror Stories, the anthology, which you and Robert
It's
reviewed
different
from a
than
few
that
months ago.
part.
But,
Yeah, that was really bad this year.
eh.
All right, so after interview... Fuck, we still have so many. All right. So the next one, Marcia, I don't know if you finished it, but I wanted to talk about Little Demon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
I love Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, it was okay.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a
Yeah.
fun show. It's about a girl that finds out that her dad is actually Satan. She is the
Danny
spawn of
DeVito.
Satan, the Antichrist. And she learns that she has powers, but she's also a teenage girl dealing with life and struggling with a relationship with her mom, who's played by Aubrey Plaza, who's like this badass that's completely naked in animated form, way more than she probably should be.
Can't I just get Aubrey Plaza in reality in said
But
regard?
but yeah, it was a really fun show. And it was 10 episodes, I believe, and I thought they did a really good job. I enjoyed a lot of the tropes that they played with.
It was not
the
a Dan
acting was
Harmon.
fun.
It
There
was
was
like-
there was definitely some comedy.
Yeah, it reminded me of like a horror version of Rick and Morty.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the Dan Harmon connection. It was like some of the people who had worked on that show with him.
Might have been, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely got that vibe. But I'm going to echo the sentiment that it kind of fell off in some of the later episodes for me. I didn't think the inspiration was quite as enthused and amusing.
For first season, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good though, and the mother-daughter dynamic specifically, I thought was very amusing, and I just love Aubrey Plaza, and the fact that her and DeVito doing something together, I thought was pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the main character is played by Danny DeVito's daughter too. So
yeah,
Really?
it was a lot more graphic than I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting when I first started watching it, and then I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah. That's what I loved about it. I loved how graphic it was. It was fun.
Yeah. Oh, it was very violent and very gore-tastic. So,
all right, cool. So that's Little Demon. The next one is Fuegos with Mandrake.
the end of this movie basically salvages everything. But I gotta say, guys, this is another movie where, and it's an Irish film. Specifically, IFC Midnight, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
How many films, Cecil, have we seen where there is like a Celtic cult conspiracy, sacrifice sort of shit? This is another film that's doing the exact same thing. The interesting aspect that they incorporate into this is that there is a Mother Earth thing where you see in creature borderline smile form a Mother Earth, and that's like that's kind of spoilery, I suppose, but you don't see it till the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Everything else, like the acting is good, but it's just the fact that it is so tried and true and troped, and that's the big thing. Our main character is like a big time drug addict, and not like a boozer like me. We're talking like putting coke up her nose and nasty in said regard, and loses her advertising job at the beginning of the film, and then goes back to reacquaint herself with her mother, and the mother is the one who was tied in with all of that Celtic sacrificial craziness. Not a bad movie though, but it's too familiar. It takes its sweet time to get to being something interesting. So
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but not bad. Shudder, guys. If you if you have time, like I try to watch all the Shudder films, and I've been trying to catch up on them, after being sick for 2 weeks. I'm like, fuck, there's like 6 new Shudder movies? God damn it.
Alright, so you're the next 3. So, my best friend's Exorcism.
Marcia watched this.
Oh, did she?
Marcia watched this, right?
Alright, well, we'll go back to that.
Yeah.
She's still not back, so Pray for the Devil.
Pray for the Devil, one of the few theatrical situations. This is it's a situation where you have your first woman who is trying to be a exorcist, so to speak, and it's not bad. It's not bad. I went to the theater. I used my A-list to see this. I don't think I would have spent $6, $8, $10, $12 to see this, but it wasn't bad. It takes place in Boston, Masha, in said regard, and so I appreciated the cinematography. The acting was good, but I guess very similar to the last film that I was talking about. It has an angle, right? So the angle is the fact that it's your first woman who is gonna try to, exorcise, and she has a few aborted attempts, which are the more interesting aspects without spoiling too much of the film. The fact that she's not quite ready, and so that was good. It's not a bad movie. Once it's on streaming, I say horror fans should check it out. I don't know if it's HBO Max or wherever, but I saw it in theaters.
All right, so we're going back, Marcia, for my best friend's Exorcism.
You saw this, right?
Yes. It was horrible.
I liked it, actually. I thought it was funny. I mean, the scene... the scene with Homie and the Froyo, where he, twists her arm to buy him frozen yogurt, and he's, ready to help out with the exorcism. I thought that was funny. You're not on the same page.
Well, I think it's because, it had all the elements to be a good movie, and it chose not to be.
Okay.
Actively chose not
It
to.
wasn't that it just wasn't. It actively chose not to be a good movie.
Yeah. I thought the stuff with him and his brothers was really funny, how they were like infomercial status, and I thought that was funny. Everything else was pretty bad.
But it was just like, there was the way, it was like, it was overacted, but not overacted enough to be what they wanted it to be.
Between
right?
the two friends, for sure, yeah.
Because it was supposed to me, like, when I saw it, I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be straight up, like, kind of campy 80s, funny, but nothing
Yeah, because it
landed.
took place in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah, nothing landed. And, like, because it just kept, like, oh, you're trying to be funny, but what you're saying is not funny. Or how you're saying it is not funny.
Yeah.
And,
I'm not going to
like,
die on the hill for this movie or anything, but
Yeah.
I
was sad because I was like, it had, like I said, it was like, it could have been so much better, but, like, I don't know if it was how they're delivering the lines, if it was just the lines themselves, or something off was just, like, just totally killed it for me. I was like, this isn't what it's trying to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it was definitely trying to be what you're
It was
referencing,
trying
so.
to be that, but it wasn't funny.
Excuse me.
And then I'm thinking and I'm sorry, it was probably the actors, right? Because, like,
I
they
thought the
weren't
girls were
delivering-
fairly decent. I mean,
they
really,
weren't
it was,
funny.
dude, it was Homie and his brothers that I thought was very amusing, and they were in small roles, obviously. So
This was supposed to be kind of fun and campy and funny, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't that. Like, they were trying to be, they played it too serious, I think.
agreed. Yeah. It
What
had a
it-
struggle with tone. I'm not going to deny that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was too serious for a funny movie. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
not what I want.
Yeah, and yet all of the people I know who have read the book hated the film too, you know, and they were like, oh, it didn't capture the tone of the book. And I'm just like, man, as you and I who have read, you know, stuff and seen adaptations before too, it's like, what are you going to do? You can't appease and please everyone, so.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot more fun than it was. It just wasn't fun.
Got it. All right.
All right.
Where we at?
So,
For me.
give me just a second. I'm making a correction here. All right.
Exactly movie, Mike. It was not, it didn't go far enough.
All right. So, next up is another Fuego one. R.I.P.D. 2.
Not terrible. I was expecting terrible. You know, the burden of expectation is the big thing that I talk about, not just here, but in any sort of review sentiment and stuff. If I'm not mistaken, Homeboy is playing the Jeff Bridges character when he first gets turned and becomes, said vengeful hunter or whatever. And also you have a turn from... It's been a while since I've watched this film, guys, unfortunately. Okay, so his name eludes me, but he was in the Rob Zombie film, the
Richard Brake?
Yes, dude. He's in it. He's the villain. He's great in this movie. He salvages a good chunk of it. It's not bad, you know. And I rented it at Redbox. I used my points. I used $2. It's worth the $2 rental, man. Especially because of the fact that the original one with Van Wilder was not very good anyway. You know, dare I say this might even be a little bit better.
Wow, really?
Not by a large margin, but it just is a condemnation of the fact that the previous one was not very good. So I had fun with R.I.P.D. 2. It's very much a direct-to-video sort of situation that we experienced constantly in the 90s. But it's still... This was fun. Yeah, I liked it.
All right. Next up is one that I can speak on as well as Fuego, and that is going to be Scare Package 2.
Bummer.
Yeah, this movie sucked.
We decided to go scary movie.
This
with
movie
Scare
sucked,
Package.
dude. Yeah, this basically was the scary movie to the Scream. Like, the first Scare Package was a good anthology
And
with a
it had
fun
its
wraparound
own
that
sort
took
of
like
vibe.
took like 25 to 30 minutes at the end of the movie to tell its wraparound story. Had fun, kind of homage-y here and there. Scare Package 2 is literally just a Saw homage with a lot of other fucking homages fucking crammed into it.
Yeah, and we're not the only ones who feel this
scene
way,
after
man.
scene. There's like,
Yeah.
hey, look, it's this
Reanimator.
movie.
Hey,
Hey,
it's
look, it's this
Reanimator.
movie.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's this movie. Hey, look, it's this movie. Dialogue. Hey, look, it's this movie. Hey, look, it's this movie. Just so much, hey, look. that I fucking hated this movie. Like,
I'm right there with you, dude.
It
and
sucked.
Dude, this was one of my most anticipated of the year.
Me too.
And you know, it was the fact that I was getting over being sick when I watched it, maybe, and I thought that. Thank you for the validation that this movie was the like.
It's not because you were sick. It probably made you sicker.
It felt so uninspired, man.
It probably made you sicker, Fuego.
It did, dude. It felt so uninspired and just bummed me out because of the fact that, like, the angle in the previous film with, you know, the fact that the guy is the video store and even his goofiness with, like, his little underling and everything.
Yep.
It was like everything felt shoehorned in this particular film, and it was tons of callbacks. Not
Literally,
just to,
like, 30 to
the
50
previous film.
callbacks.
Yeah, not just to scare package the original, but yet scare package everything from Addams Family to Reanimator to everything. It was like they decided that it was going to be a full-on parody.
3 Dream Warriors.
They decided it was going to be a full-on parody as opposed to being their own thing, and I think that's how they were able to crank it out so quickly.
Hellraiser.
Probably. Yeah, Hellraiser, and dare I say, like, some of the practical effects were pretty
Plus
good.
YouTube with the cinnamon challenge? Like, what the fuck? This movie's so bad. I'm sorry, but it's so bad.
No, I was trying so hard. I was trying so hard not to hate this movie because of the fact because of the fact that I loved the first movie so much.
The first movie was so good.
I loved
this one
the
is
first
so
movie.
Bad.
Yeah, this one was wretched, dude.
All right.
It sucked. Anyway.
Don't waste your time, Marsha.
Yeah.
All right.
No, it's hard to get me to watch an anthology movie anyway. But...
well, you liked Cabinet of Curiosities.
Yeah.
Right.
And the fact that they were calling back to Saw 6 the whole fucking time.
Like,
oh my God.
before, it's hard to get me to watch it. And I usually wait till you guys tell me it's good.
Yeah.
All right, so we may have a number of Fuegos in a row here. So,
okay.
All right, speed round.
Well,
Significant other.
I guess significant other. Micah Monroe.
You're doing good.
No, I'm trying to.
No, you're doing good. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, I know you've seen me sloppy.
No, you're doing good. You've made a comeback. I'm happy
So, dude, Micah Monroe is one of my favorite actresses as far as this genre of stuff goes. Watcher is one of my. It's in my favorites of the year, as Cecil and I are about to record here in a little bit. This movie, though. Man, I liked Villains. I really, really did. The one that she did with this same director, and it had Bill Skarsgård. But this movie has to deal with aliens, and it has to deal with, it doesn't really hit its stride. And I'm curious, anybody in the chat, if you've seen this movie, this film hits its stride at the back end, big time, because of what it decides to do with a human body that is taken over by an alien presence. That is fascinating. Everything else leading up to it is just schlocky and very by the books and boring. But
so you put on the last 30 minutes or something?
Dude, the last 30 minutes is so intriguing.
Because that's what I'm going to put on the last 20 minutes of Mandrake.
It's very intriguing.
I'm going to watch the last 20 minutes of Mandrake. I'll watch the last 30 minutes of this too.
Yeah. Both as such are interesting in said regard. I don't know. Check out Watcher in comparison. That's the rear window.
We're gonna get to Watcher.
Yeah. We'll get to it at some particular point. But dude, I have loved Micah. She was the saving grace for It Follows, which all three of us actually were like, "There's no third act." Blah blah blah. Micah Monroe was great.
I like it a lot.
Micah Monroe was great in that movie.
I refuse to
she's
rewatch
in this film.
I did.
And
I rewatched
she's really good
and The Witch, and I really like both movies now.
Oh God!
I know. I made a turn on him, Marsha.
Marsha, the Menu is the one that you need to watch, Marsha.
We'll get there.
I love
right.
the Menu.
Fuego, tell us about your Sissy.
Oh, this one is actually also in my top 10.
Your Sissy.
Yeah, I mean that's great. Fuego has a lot of independent top 10 in his top 10.
Dude,
it's crazy. You're
This is another one about
influencers,
and this is an indictment of influencers.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
and it's on Shudder too?
Yeah, it's on Shudder too.
All right,
man.
I need to watch this too.
Fuck. This movie is so amusing to me because of the fact that I am so amused by people who think their shit doesn't stink and think that...
I know you like to think your shit don't stink.
But
girl, let me tell you that your roses
the biggest
really
thing
smell
that
like
we encounter,
ooh.
The biggest thing that I feel like we encounter in YouTubing is the fact that there are people who don't have something specific that they do. It's like, okay, you're going to, and in the case of this girl, she is giving very much similar to the girl at the beginning of Grimcutty. She's like giving advisement and like, like breathe and heal.
Damn, it's got 5 stars on show.
I love
like
this movie.
Straight up 5.
I love this movie, man.
Not even
I think
4.5.
it's really, really awesome.
Wow.
It's tough to watch at times.
All right, I'm gonna watch it.
It's tough to watch at times, but
Like, it's tough because it's gory, or it's tough because
Yeah.
it's
both. Honestly, it's tough because of the fact that you see a little bit of ourselves in what.
Oh no! Oh, because she's an influencer.
She's an
influencer.
influencer.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
You got me excited for it.
It's an
though.
Australian film, though. But,
Those are good.
Yeah,
the Aussie films that make it over here are worth it.
Aussies and
look at Vegan
New
Vixen
Zealand, man.
chimes in for the first time.
Yeah.
Sissy is awesome with decent kills.
Yeah,
cool,
Sissy's
cool.
great. There's one
What
kill,
up, Vegan Vixen?
dude. There's one kill in particular in this movie where it's a callback to something that happens earlier in the film, and you're just like, mother.
All right, I gotta watch it.
Oh, it just makes your skin crawl. It's
glad we're
it's not
doing
super
this.
gory, but
Yeah, Shudder. Yeah.
it makes your skin crawl, man. Yeah.
You got
Anyway.
that piece of paper, Marsh?
This is another film where I don't want to
I keep grabbing
divulge.
my
So
hair.
yeah, Sissy is very entertaining for anybody who exists within the sphere.
All right. Next up is another one that only Fuego's seen, I believe, which is Speak No Evil. Nope. Oh, I deleted it. Hang on. I didn't delete it. I just
Okay,
didn't
well,
click on it.
anybody
Speak
who
No
has
Evil.
seen Speak No Evil knows it's got one of the most fucked up endings of the entire year.
Can I watch just the ending, or do I need to watch the whole movie to have the ending hit?
No, you actually don't. You actually don't.
Is it on a streaming service, or
I don't think it's Shudder as well.
Oh, it is.
This is definitely one. It's dramedy, like dramatic thriller, until the last 20 minutes, and the last 20 minutes are where it goes into
It's
one
not
of the
on
darkest. It goes into it was before. Because the new year, just like Resurrection, is no longer on there with Rebecca Hall. Yeah, lots of stuff. Everybody, lots of stuff left Shudder today, which stinks. Because Resurrection with Rebecca Hall left Shudder today. Speak No Evil, presumably, has left Shudder today. This is so it deals with a family that's on holiday, and they make friends with so it's Danes and Dutch, and they make friends with the fact that they both speak English, and they make plans to see each other at a vacation property later on. Then stuff gets really, really wacky, and man, the ending is the ending made me cry because of the fact that it's wretched. Anyway,
All right.
so
Fair enough. Speak No Evil.
Yeah.
Next up is what I've heard is very shitty or very shitty Spirit
It's not
Halloween.
awful.
It's not awful. Okay.
It's a solid 2.5 stars, man.
Better or worse than the Goosebumps movies?
On par.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's right there.
Okay.
Maybe
Wait,
I
what
like
movie are we talking about?
Spirit Halloween.
You're talking Spirit Halloween. I would give it an extra half star because of Christopher Lloyd, who you see in the poster.
He does
right
the
there.
voices for all the bad guys, right?
He does. Yeah, he's not bad.
I feel like that'd get distracting.
And the kids aren't awful, but think more Goosebumps, the sequel, instead of the original.
That's a bummer. That's a lot younger.
Yeah, so I know you and I almost went to a theater to see this.
We almost did.
And I was like, I'm not going to go to the theater
No.
to see that shit. So, yeah. Anyway.
right.
Not bad, though. Fun music, actually, is the one thing that I remember about this movie, is the fact that I had some covers of some fun rock songs.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
All right, next is the Tales from the Walking Dead miniseries.
Okay.
Fuego, watch this.
Yeah. It's not going to reinstill your faith in the series because
I heard there's an alpha episode that's worth it.
There is, and that was what I told you about.
Right.
Actually.
Okay. So, you were the one
so the alpha origin episode is the reason to watch this. It's really, really captivating because alpha honestly was what in the last 3 years of the show was the best shit. The Whisperer War was what redeemed my faith in this show. Marcia, did you watch any past the Glenn compliment? Because I still remember you and I laughing about
the Whisperers War, and then
okay, you did. Okay, so you saw Beta, the guy who they're like, oh, he was a country country singing star, which I thought was kind of fun. Do you have any inclinations to check out the spin-offs with Maggie and Negan, or with Glenn? Excuse me, not Glenn. Definitely not Glenn. Definitely not. But you know, they could bring back Stephen Ewan in this particular show because
as a flashback.
as a flashback sort of bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't bring back people like Abraham and people like Glenn in this show, because it's a prime outlet for those sort of stories.
The problem is, for me to watch that, I have to watch through the rest of the regular series, and I just don't wanna.
And I do still need to finish the rest of it. I need to. I just have to finish it.
Yeah. You guys are the ones who twisted my arm for that panel,
I know.
and I was the one who finished it. But but dude, Marcia, the finish was not good. It felt so much like, aside from where you see Michonne and Rick, and the fact that they have their own show, I mean, it didn't even feel like an end to the, proceedings proper. It didn't feel like it.
Walking Dead is that they lost the humanity side of that show. Like, as soon as Rick and Carl left, and Carl, it was already headed in that direction, but when they left, you really felt like you didn't have that human piece. It just felt, okay, this is just more drama and just more stories I don't care about characters that I don't care about.
Would you guys,
like, the first, I don't know, I forget how many seasons it was, like
11 of them.
You're all in, because you really cared about the people in the story, and it was about, the whole thing was about this father and son making it through, and him carrying over his legacy to his son, and then they both peace out, and like, why are we even why is this even going?
That's where I mean, I know you guys have read the comics, just to veer very briefly.
Yeah, the comics ends with Carl.
So do you think the producers behind the show are shooting themselves in the foot? They're like, we shouldn't have killed Carl. You think they regret that?
No. So they're a little too late for that.
Yeah.
Man,
regret.
Honestly, at this point, who cares to even speculate? It's all fucking done.
That's fine.
We have a lot to talk about. So that kind of covers Walking Dead Season 11 and Tales from the Walking Dead.
Yeah. The show ended with a whisper, in my estimation. Anyway.
And then the
Whimper, I think.
Whimper, yeah. Well, with a whisper too, because the fact that there was like nothing really transpiring that hit me heavily.
Next one is The Apology.
Great movie.
Christmas.
So
is
Janine,
it a thriller or stalker? What is it?
Very much thriller. Janine Garofalo is in a brief bookended period of it, but it's really about a mother who has lost her child and is still not been given the confirmation about whether her child has been found dead.
Oh.
And so there is a familial tie-in.
This is... I remember this trailer.
This movie is
where, like, it's
really,
a group of people together and she fucking starts going off on this person.
This movie is really good, man.
It's the person that killed her kid, right?
It's,
and he tries to apologize or something.
Without divulging stuff.
Okay.
But it's incredibly acted. I mean, anytime you have two people who are shouldering the burden of an entire theatrical runtime, dude, I mean, fuck. They do it very competently and very well. And, it's one of the better Shudder releases in this particular year. It's one of those films where, once again, I don't want to spoil it, because it's how the thing unravels. And so, highly recommended on my part.
Michael Joe, Walking Dead ended.
Does it go deep into the dead kid?
It goes fucked up, Marcia. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Michael Joe, you said The Walking Dead is still on. No, it ended.
Yeah, The Walking Dead
there's spin-off
ended.
shows.
Yeah, there's
but
three
The Walking Dead show ended.
There's still Fear of the Walking Dead. There's still World of the Walking Dead. There's still Tales of the Walking Dead. But yeah,
Vegan Vixen says, agree, Apology really solid.
Yeah.
I'll write it down. But I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be like a pleasant 90 minutes of time, Marsha.
But if it's a revenge thing for a dead kid, that might be worth watching.
It's very dialogue heavy. And you guys know how much I like dialogue heavy stuff. So,
All right, so that's The Apology. The next up is, I think, Marsha, you even said you watched The Invitation?
Yeah!
I did.
It's basically for tweens, like Dracula, I guess, in a lot of ways. You know, if they had marketed this thing a little bit better, I think maybe it would have been more highly successful. I watched the R-rated version where there's tits and a few F-bombs and stuff, but it was released as a cut-down PG-13 sort of situation, and the love interest is what's the term? Thirst trap, I think. Which he is, right? So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. What did you think about this movie, Marsha?
Here, Fuego, come sit where I am.
Sorry.
So you can, the next one's right here. All you gotta do to bring up the next ones, you see them right here?
Yeah.
The next one is the Lair, then the menu, then Midnight Club. So all you gotta do is just turn their eyes on to make them appear, because I want to go say hi to my son before they go to sleep.
I thought it was okay. I mean, it wasn't like...
Oh, yeah, one of the ones you brought?
Yeah.
It was definitely like a
Thank you, man.
A Friday night, pop some popcorn and sit down and watch a movie. It wasn't over the top
so...
in any
Here we are.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know if you can even hear me. Kind of like the invitation and how they updated the Gothic vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, the awesomeness that you are, MPH. So you were kind of okay with it, or
I thought it was okay. I thought
it wasn't a bad movie, right?
I didn't think it was over the top or something that I was gonna watch 6 times down the road. But
definitely not.
It definitely was a nice like Friday night or whatever. Pop some popcorn and just like I said, just kind of hang out and watch it. It wasn't. It wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing. It was okay.
Yeah, that was very much the way that I felt about it, because, I mean, we watched so many, like, terrible films over the continuity of the year and stuff, and, yeah, this was not one that I mean, granted, going in with low expectations helps, I suppose, but, okay. Now, did you like her going, like, super badass at the end and getting her recompense and whatnot?
Yeah.
Were you into that?
Yeah, I thought it was a good payoff.
Yeah, amen.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, same. I'm not sure if Cecil has Run Sweetheart Run on here, but that was another one that I felt very, very similar vibes to. So, okay, so, man, I thought he was telling me that. Sorry, no, that's not what we need.
You can do it, Jaime. You can do it.
No, I'm not doubting myself. It's just that he had told me that.
I heard Midnight Club and.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So what he has done. Okay, so what he has done is that he had like the little slash on the little viewpoint icon, and that's what I did not realize. So okay. All right, so Midnight Club. You and I both watched this.
Yeah, I loved this.
I've warmed up to it. The more I've thought about it, I've warmed up to it, and I'm super bummer status in the fact that they are not getting a second season.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it needs a second season. I thought that they kind of wrapped it up really well. I mean, I guess if you wanted to go through a whole new different type of, group of people, I guess. I mean, because I mean,
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Mike Flanagan went so far as to say that they had all of these proverbial plans for a second season, which entailed explanation about some of those loose ends, like, some of the ghostly figures that they saw in the basement area. Also the fact that Heather Langenkamp's character had no hair and all that stuff, and like tie-ins with her being one of the previous members of the Midnight Club herself. And so I appreciate the fact that Mike Flanagan was like, yo, we were gonna do this, and so on. That the kids annoyed me a little bit, if I'm gonna be fair about it. But the one who was the most badass was the Irish girl.
Yeah.
And she was very much the one who just sold everything for me. The one who was very standoffish with our new recruit, and her story was going to inform, from what Mike Flanagan had said, everything that happened in the second season. Because remember, it was very much her living a life that was like, positive and what she had envisioned and what she had hoped for and stuff. They were gonna kind of do that with all of the characters as they all like passed away. So that kind of intrigues me a little bit, I suppose. But
I thought this series did a really good job of like creeping me out. Like it creeped me out in so many different points, especially heavy in the beginning. And and I agree with Alex. Like at the end, it kind of tapers out because they're trying to resolve, right? And they didn't go full. They could have gone full like supernatural and gone.
Yeah,
and
easily,
they didn't,
easily.
which was a weird. Like it seemed like a weird.
And they deliberately, according to Flanagan, were saving it for the second season, and so that's why. I mean, dude had to have been pissed off for no second season, and then to take to Tumblr and specify everything they were going to do in the second season. So he felt like there was like an unfinished sort of business in that regard.
I'm sure, because if you wanted to go full throttle, which I feel like he should have just done it, just like do it. You're not promised tomorrow, especially at Netflix. So let's just
at this point, not at all, right?
But like, I mean, I don't know if you recall this, but like Pete, who hardly ever, gets creeped out at anything.
Didn't he like go ahead of you on this? Like,
no, he didn't. No, he didn't. But he was like,
he was into it.
I watched it all like real fast. I was like, I was like consuming it.
Wasn't there a show in the last year where he like went ahead of you and he like had to wait for you to catch up?
Yeah, most of them.
He
always watches them before I can finish them. Like he already watched all of Alice in Borderland before he even started it. I was like, what?
Totally off topic. I don't know if we're gonna. Totally off topic. I don't know if we're gonna. Have you watched the new Witcher yet?
No, I haven't.
Blood Origin or whatever it is.
No.
I'm trying to remember if you were into that show or not. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I do like it, but no, like going back to the Midnight Club, like even him, he was saying like Mike Flanagan just knows how to just creep the fuck out, and I'm like, it was so good. Like it was a really good ghost story, and I love the Midnight Society tie-in. And
were you familiar with the Christopher Pike books beforehand? Had you read any of those?
I didn't read his book.
Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, I've read like The Last Vampire and Chain Letter, but I never read that particular series. So yeah, it was totally new to me as well. And I mean, your enthusiasm actually. God, do I have time to revisit anything with going back to school? Probably not. But yeah, it was very interesting.
It was one of my favorite ones. But I'm a huge Are You Afraid of the Dark fan, and
which I've never watched, dude. That's the crazy thing about it. Yeah.
The shows get me right in the feelers. So this show was made for me. Like this show was definitely made for me. So
nice.
I dig it.
Okay, so as I am very foolishly cycling through all of these different things. Okay, so the menu, because I know Cecil did not see this. You didn't go to a theater to check this out, did you? Okay, so very much, Marsha, a comedic thriller in comparison with like anything like visceral, like in-your-face horror. But holy shit, dude, I loved this movie. Anya Taylor-Joy has proven herself countless times at this point to be a superstar. She's voicing Peach in the new Super Mario Brothers movie, so she's playing Princess Toadstool. I guess that is, a crowning more so than anything. But she is so good in this movie. Ralph Fiennes is terrific. I know I talked to both you and Cecil about how much I love this particular film. Thank you, sir. But it's John Leguizamo was great. The dude. John Leguizamo is in this. I'm gonna pass this off to our guy, but man, this is one I want you to watch so very badly. It's so good. It's so good. But once again, just to double down on the factor, everybody who is tuning in, including Marcia, that it's a comedic thriller and not necessarily full-on horror. But does horror have to have? I mean, the next thing we're about to talk about, the Lair, which I loved. Does it have to be monsters and creatures and craziness to like warrant horror? I don't know.
No.
But Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
So the Lair is next?
Mm-hmm. I thought, yeah. Neil, man, I keep seeing...
Neil Marshall.
Keep saying Neil Gaiman for whatever derpy, dumbass reason, dude. But, yeah, Neil Marshall, who was the dude who did, The Descent and Dog Soldiers, and also a film that we saw last year, the one that was about witches, and I can't recall the specifics of it. It's got the same girl in it, who was unfortunately on the hot seat for sleeping with studio executives to get roles.
Let's stick with the movie.
Charlotte something.
Let's stick with the movie,
Okay,
man.
okay.
We got 15 left after this.
Okay. Sorry. I can tell you're ready to go. That's fine. This was entertaining. The dialogue is derpy and stupid, but deliberately so. And, creature in, human suits, whatever. I don't know. I was entertained by this. It was a lot better than I was expecting, and one that I think you would enjoy, actually.
Cool. I like a good creature movie. I'll give it a try.
Yeah, check it out.
I like the creature being shown here in the poster. I think that looks kind of cool.
Kind of cool looking, right?
Yeah.
Next up is one for both of you guys, The Midnight Club, which we already know
just talked about
that isn't going to continue. Oh, you did? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Cool. The Patience, Marcia?
The Patient. Oh, The Patient.
Oh, this is the series. Okay.
Yeah. Dude, this one was... I got into it because one of my... I have a couple therapist friends that really... were like...
Stupid. Damn, no, sorry. No, I mean, I spent that time not listening. Sorry, Jones.
Go ahead, Marcia.
Janet's.
Okay, so no, this was they were like really recommending it, and so I finally did watch it, and it was really good. I mean, it's very character driven, right? It's a lot of back and forth, and you're basically you have a situation where you have a therapist who is treating this gentleman normally, and then the gentleman kidnaps him and tells and ties him up in his basement. It's like, hey, turns out I'm actually a serial killer, and I don't want to be a serial killer anymore. And meeting you in your office wasn't working, so I'm hoping you can keep me from killing this guy. And the guy's like, wait, this is not how it works. But and trying to figure out how he can help him without getting murdered himself, because eventually it's already in the point where well, you already told me you're a serial killer, and you probably don't want other people to know, and how am I going to survive this? So it's very well done, and because it's not just him dealing with a serial killer, he's also dealing with his own internal struggles and his relationships with his self and his family, and how he's dealing with how he left things with his children before this happened, and knowing that he's not gonna probably be able to see them again. And it was really well done, and I mean,
it's an Amazon Prime, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think it's Hulu.
Yeah,
Hulu.
I was gonna watch it the other day, and I was like, "Fuck! I have commercials on Hulu now."
It is Steve Carell. He's the therapist, and he will wow you with his skills. Here, this is the office.
This one. Oh, okay.
It's not gonna make you feel good at all. But it's gonna definitely keep your attention. So
there's another show on Hulu Prime that I'm mistaking. So nice. Yeah. Okay.
All right, cool. So that's The Patient. The next one is also you, Marcia. The School of Good and Evil.
Yeah, a film on Netflix.
This one, I thought it was so much fun. I didn't think I was gonna enjoy it, because I'm like, okay, here we go. Here's another teen movie.
That's the way I felt.
It's a series, right?
That's a movie.
It is a movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was really well done. It was a lot of fun. So you have these two kind of I want to say it was like a fairy tale times, right? You have your, they're living in the medieval times, right? And they're they have big dreams or whatever, and they wish upon a star type of thing, and they get taken in to the book of, because I heard if you go into the good and evil, you're good, the good person, or you're a villain, and so who they thought would be the the good princess ended up being put in the evil school, and her friend who didn't want to go at all ended up being put in the princess school, and so here they are, like trying to figure out why that is, and then it was the dynamic between the two friends, and then like them with the teachers and the schoolmates, and just kind of everything come to head. It was like Harry Potter, but a little bit more fun because it was a lot more fairy tale-ish than like witches and warlocks.
And it's a stacked cast of ladies, if I'm not mistaken. As far as like,
I mean, it was stocked, and everybody was having a good time. And the cinematography was good. The special effects were fun. The acting was phenomenal, and it's just a good feel movie. You can sit with your family and watch it and have a good time. I mean, it's not horror per se, but it was, it has that element because the good versus evil type of thing. So
yeah, we covered lots of horror adjacent. So
cool. Right on.
Nice, man. Yeah, this is one that I had like sitting around on the spreadsheet, and I was like, okay, am I gonna check it out? And unfortunately, I spent my time watching something like Cecil just brought up, which is The Visitor.
That's what's next.
It's another Blumhouse, and whereas Soft and Quiet and some of the other unexpected films like wowed me, this one did not. This was This was very much about tropes of somebody who is destined to be something, who is returned to the angle is that a British guy is married to a woman from the South, and yet she has ties with a hierarchy of not only racism, but also classism, and a sort of, I don't know, like person who was going to save everybody from everything. And there are a series of paintings that this guy, like the same person, pops up in, and yet it's also the same person that she is married to from Britain. And so there are people who are telling him to get the hell out, and he doesn't yield their words. And it's one of those movies. I mean, doesn't this sound familiar? Like, oh, you look like somebody who is it's very familiar, very boring.
It sounds like
in
he
said
was
regard.
Merkel and she was Harry.
Yeah, but I mean, the acting is solid across the board, which makes me even more upset about the fact that competent people made this movie that is just so much of a retread. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about The Visitor. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The next up is another one you wanted to touch on called The Wonder.
So this is significantly more intriguing in its premise, at least. So you've got Florence Pugh, and
Florence Pugh.
So she is a nurse that is sent from London in the late 1800s to basically verify whether there is a divine situation transpiring with this girl who has not eaten for like a year.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and so they think she is a saint.
Sounds like a diet I should go on.
Yeah. The church, the church is essentially on the verge of sainting this little girl who has allegedly not eaten in about a year. And she is trying to verify whether, this young lady is, sustaining, and whether she's possessed, whether she is divinely imbued, whatever the hell. It's a drama with thriller sort of tendencies, but it's very intriguing in the way that you get some classification, revelation about what is actually going on with this girl. There is a bit of sibling nastiness. There is a bit of parent nastiness that's going on, and that's me dancing around the issue and not being like super spoilery. It's a really good.
She's abused.
She's definitely abused. It's a really good movie, actually. And so if you have about 100 minutes on Netflix and not expecting visceral horror, it's very much a character study. Florence Pugh is terrific in it. I'm slowly warming up to her after really not liking her in Midsommar. So, and
she's
also
good as Black Widow.
Yeah, and also Don't Worry, Darling, she was in earlier this year too. So she's a very talented actress. She just needs to pick and choose her roles a little bit better. This one is good though. So. Yeah.
All right. Next up is another Fuego one with Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo.
This movie was fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I dug it, dude. And you had.
I want to watch the Scooby-Doo Courage the Cowardly Dog movie that came out this year.
I haven't seen that one.
To yet.
This one, Lillard comes back to voice Shaggy, which is fun.
All right.
It's not great. I'm not gonna go and champion this film or anything, but it was very amusing. And the voice work was good. And also one of the most noteworthy aspects is the fact that for Velma, they solidify her being a gay character in this, which is really cool. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It was goofy. It was charming. I mean, yeah, very much a Redbox rental, which is where I believe I commandeered it from. So.
Next up is one that I watched. I don't know, Fuego, you said you didn't get around to it, right?
I was halfway through it. The initial aspect where she's climbing on the mountain and everything, and then where the government types pull her in and they're trying to like prep her and stuff. I didn't get to the back half of the film.
So yeah, Troll is basically a Norwegian kind of Independence Day almost kind of movie. I mean, it's not like the whole world is ending, but it's done in a very similar setup where some disaster happens, a lot of people die, nobody really has complete footage of it, in spite of the fact that it's a cell phone era.
They're like teasing her early in the movie.
Because she studies a particular side of science that isn't well respected, and her father, disappeared years ago, kind of, and sort of told her as a little girl about the fact that trolls were actually in existence and they hid amongst the mountains. And like he showed her a mountain, and in the mountain he's like, what do you see? And she stares at the mountain, and you can actually make out faces in the mountain. So it's pretty cool. And then it turns out that there is a troll that actually has woken up. It's massive, and when they realize it, the military shows up and starts attacking it. But it doesn't do very much, and the troll is headed towards more populist areas. And so what do they do to stop it? So they treat it like a natural disaster movie, but it's also like a giant creature movie. And it doesn't go quite as far as I want it to, but there is sort of a sequel bait ending where they could go farther if they want, because it's just the one troll. It's not like Troll Hunter, which was also Norwegian.
That's the movie that
it was the Norwegian found footage movie that I loved, and so that's why I was so excited about this. This is treated much more serious. It's not found footage, but it is a similar premise, and it's fun. It's on Netflix. It doesn't, it's an hour and 45 minutes long, something like that, but it's worth a look if you like giant creature movies. So,
like I was gonna say, when you click that on the spreadsheet that Marcia put together, thanks to Marcia and PH, when you clicked that, you watched it and did not say that you recommended it.
I meant to. I would have, but I
was just wondering because I know your taste.
It's not great. It's just it's a typical monster movie.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So that's Troll. Next up is VHS 99.
We both watched this. I actually just watched this last night deliberately because of the fact that I knew there was a New Year's Eve tie-in, and so after almost a week of missing work with being sick, dude, I was out working until about 10, and Catherine was working too, and so we both came home, we popped some champagne, and we watched this movie. It was all right.
Yeah. There's two stories I thought were entertaining.
I thought the first one was the best with what, Bitch Cat or Bitch Pussy or whatever. The one that had the girl punk band. The one that had the girl punk band. I thought was the best. Well. Yeah. So it was. It was. Sorry, it was a.
Was that her official name?
Bitch Pussy.
No. That was They were like a chick-centric, even chick-centric sounds terrible. So it was an all-woman...
Female.
Yes, it was an all-female. Thank you, Marcia. It was an all-female punk band, and they were very much almost like a Veruca Salt or something. But I think Veruca Salt, now that I think about it, even maybe had a guy or two in the band. Anyway, it was about, there was a band of guys, and there was one girl... Hark or Mark or whatever, and they were going to investigate this place where these girls got trampled when they were trying to leave this spot. So that was cool. There was also the Medusa thing. There was also the
Suicide Bid.
How about
Ozzy's
the Nickelodeon
Dungeon.
Guts?
Yeah,
the
that's Ozzy's
Nickelodeon
Dungeon.
Guts was was okay. It wasn't as I mean, it was
Gawkers.
nowhere near as iconic as what Maratma or
Hail Rotma.
Hail Rotma or whatever.
Yeah.
It was okay. I enjoyed
This one
it.
wasn't great. I gotta be honest. I wasn't the biggest fan. Like
I
the
have to
last
ask
one
you-
had each one. It seems like
Ever
there's
since
two
Bloody
really
Disgusting
solid,
like took over.
two really solid ones, and then the other ones are just kind of eh.
Okay, so there were the 3 entries before BD took them over, right?
Yeah.
So there was VHS 1, 2, and 3, and then they have
VHS Viral was the third one.
Yeah, okay.
And then VHS 94 and VHS 99.
Yeah. I mean, I still always think back to the first one where the girl's like, "I like you," and she was like the gargoyle transformer
That turned into Siren.
which they made into a whole movie. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, 99 was a little bit of a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie. Not bad. 2.5. Yeah.
All right,
So
we're
many anthology movies.
I know.
getting close to the
Okay,
end here,
Marcia,
guys.
you saw this shit, right?
Violent Night.
No, I didn't get to.
She didn't
Oh,
get to.
I thought you said in the group thread.
No,
I
she was
was
going
going
to.
to.
Yeah.
That was like the last thing I saw before I got
I
sick. It
wanted
was like
to.
that.
Yeah, I'll watch it eventually too, but I just haven't gotten to it yet.
I don't want
I
to spoil what
Well,
this
don't
movie.
spoil. We haven't spoiled any of them.
That's
You
why
can
I
talk
said.
about it without
That's
spoiling.
why I said I don't want to spoil.
You
But,
can talk about it without spoiling. It's not that hard.
okay, there's a big revelation about the backstory of Santa that is spoilery, and I think it was one of the coolest bits, and it's actually one of the things that enables them to make sequels. So, yeah. But I mean, David Harbour, kick ass. He's so funny in this, and he has great chemistry with the young girl, who is kind of his counterbalance, and John Leguizamo as our Hans Cruden is great.
John
It's very.
Smith too.
He's he's the Gruber. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Gruden, whatever. But,
Yeah, he doesn't have anything to do with football.
Alan. He's the Alan Rickman character. He's the bad guy, so to speak. And Cecil's laughing at me, rightfully so, which is very justified and warranted. Yeah, man, it's funny because so many people have said that this film is Home Alone meets and whatever else, but
Die Hard.
personally, Die Hard, obviously, this is Die Hard meets Bad Santa, dude, because of the fact that he is a drunk, slovenly, amusing character. He's stealing the booze when he's on his little drops and stuff. Like, yeah, it's very funny. I will revisit it
I
next
gotta get
year.
my hands on this. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
I will
said,
revisit
10
it
cents
next year.
away.
It's-
I'm like one more Google survey away from getting.
It's not 5 stars or anything. Like,
That's
please
the thing.
do
It's
not.
$20 to rent it, $25 to buy it. So
Yeah,
the way everyone's talking about it, you might as well just buy the damn thing for $25.
I guess. Yeah.
But then I don't know how to rewatch it. I don't know how any of that works.
It's just
Like,
it's just always on your Prime or whatever. Yeah, whatever service you buy it on.
Yeah,
if you
once
go
you
to
purchase,
Prime,
yeah.
that's the thing. I bought Bill and Ted's the new movie.
Yeah, the Face
so
of
I've just
Music or
always got
whatever.
access to it. It's like I don't care. I'll never watch it, but it's just always on my shelf,
Yeah.
my digital
I guess
shelf.
that's true.
Yeah,
And
this
if I
movie
was
is
like,
really good,
I can
guys.
watch it every year.
Yeah.
Like I did
Yeah.
Die Hard. so.
Exactly. All right, so that's
Yeah.
Violent Night.
Yeah, that
Next
was
up
the-
is Watcher. This is on a lot of people's lists I've found too.
Okay, really good movie, and most notably because of the performance. Sorry, guys, you're seeing a little bit of the cough that.
We're getting there. We're down to the
Killed me.
last 5 things.
No, it's a little bit of the cough that
What up,
killed me
Kanan?
for
Good
like
to
a
see
week
you.
and a half.
Ghost Pirate.
Yeah, Ghost Pirate Entertainment. What's up, Dan?
Oh, I didn't see this one. I thought I was getting this mixed up with the house.
Well, and there was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Watcher series this year as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I was
This
getting
movie's
that mixed up with the movie.
Pretty terrific, and it really just holds itself on the shoulders of Micah. She's damn good, man. She is one of my favorite, and not even in like a she's sexy sort of standpoint. Like, she exudes ethos and just emotion, and in this particular case, like, just aggravation so much in the fact that she is a recently married woman who has gone to the home country of her new husband, and she's in Europe, and she doesn't speak. She's in Belgium or something, if I remember correctly, and so she's basically going around and has nothing to do. So she is very much a housewife, and it's very much her plight, her situation, and she sees what she thinks to be a murder, and it's very much Rear Window, Jimmy Stewart, about whether she witnessed what she believes that she did. But what elevates the familiarity is her performance, dude. It's exceptional. She kicks ass in this film, and it's what really has it in consideration for a lot of our fellow horror people as one of the best of the year. It's really good.
I'm finding
it's funny because
I
haven't watched this movie, but it sounds like the setup of a Castle episode.
It's familiar as fuck,
but
dude.
That was definitely an episode of Castle.
Yeah. Marcia, it's familiar as fuck. It's the movie's detriment, but it does everything else about the familiarity so pinpoint perfect that I just and most notably her performance. So.
Is it streaming or did you have to?
It's currently on Shudder, but I actually saw that in theaters. So with my AMC Prime,
Everything's on Shudder.
Yeah, and it's on Shudder. It's on Shudder. Micah Monroe. Ever since she was the best thing about it. Follows her and her sister, if I remember correctly. So.
Damn, I missed fucking 4 or 5 things for you because you watch so many things from so many different months.
Well, I watch everything as much as I can every month. No, we don't have to, man.
Well, we can save them for the next time.
Yeah.
Let's just finish out what we have. But, god damn, there's a lot that we didn't fucking...
it was just 4 months, So.
I know. There's a lot. Alright, in VHS.
You notice the crap I didn't watch at the bottom, right? All the Tubi shit.
Alright, so next up is going to be one that I think all of us can talk about, which is Wednesday.
Yeah!
Oh, yes, I did watch Wednesday.
So this was a lot of fun. This was just basically a new version of Sabrina, which...
Of the teenage version.
It fills that void very well. She did an amazing job. Jenna Ortega just absolutely killed it. I am one of the people that absolutely loved the dance sequence. I'm glad that became a whole meme in and of itself. I actually liked the portrayal of the Addams family. Luis Guzman, it just takes some getting used to, but he is closer to the original Gomez
as far as visibility.
Raul Julia was. Sure. I actually kind of liked Fred Armisen's Uncle Fester as well.
I did too, dude. And the fact that he didn't pop up until near the end, I thought, gave it some special.
The whole thing is a creature mystery, creature murder mystery. So I dug it. I actually liked the kind of slightly goofy, the creature felt like it belonged in the 2 live-action Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah,
and I actually kind of liked those live-action Scooby-Doo movies. I thought the crazy bunny creatures were really scary, and I think that this creature is the same kind of silly scary. So I really liked Wednesday. I enjoyed the hell out of it and would very much welcome a second season.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. And there were times that I was like, okay, that was a little over the top, but...
It was too tween for me at times, but, I still enjoyed it primarily.
And I knew it was going to be a teeny. It definitely had, like Cecil said, it had that era of the Sabrina Teenage Witch, but they did it different enough to where it didn't clash with what we know and love. So I thought that the way they approached it was really well done. And I think she did a phenomenal job. And I love that Christine Ricci was in it.
And taking an unexpected turn, which was cool.
Yeah, she got to play a really big role because, I think originally we thought it was just going to be kind of a cameo.
Yeah, for sure.
But she really got to be in there and partake in it, and and
it was really the whole love triangle thing that didn't work for me, man. That just I was kind of rolling my eyes at that, but aside from that aspect, I really enjoyed everything else. So.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan about the relationship between Wednesday and Morticia. I thought they had a better relationship. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong, but I'm just I don't know.
Yeah, I wish we could screen it. I have to show this to Cecil, so.
Yeah, I didn't really buy into it because the family was very close, and the fact that the Pugsley was crapped on so much, I didn't like that either because he was dumb.
That's always been the case, I guess. But
he was dumb, but he was also kind of he was life dumb, but he was brilliant at what he did, right? He was really into bombs and like really like he was still kind of clever and funny, and like this.
I still feel like that dynamic was actually handled significantly better in the two, Barry Sonnenfeld films, if I'm not mistaken. Addams Family and Addams Family Values, and the fact that, she was still ragging on him, but he still seemed very, like, about-face about it, and he was, like, taking it in stride. This was more like a persecuted sort of sibling sort of thing, which I wasn't about,
I didn't like the way they portrayed him, because he was, like, he was always, like, kind of go-with-the-flow type of character.
Yeah.
He owned who he was, and I didn't like how they downplayed him. And even though it was just such a small role and a small, like, flaky.
Oh, yeah, just like The Parents. He was in, what, like 3 or 4 episodes?
Yeah, it was just, he was the springboard to get the show off, which I get that, but it's still like, no.
It's very tough to compare, like, the amazingness of, like, the bloodshed scene, in the first film and, all that stuff, so...
Other than that, I thought it was good. I mean, I probably would have enjoyed it better if it wasn't like Wednesday Addams. If it was just like on its own, you know what I mean? If it
agreed,
wasn't the Addams Family, because I felt like they forced the Addams Family into the show about Wednesday.
Well,
and that part of it I didn't like.
They already said that season 2 was going to have more of the family in it than season 1.
Yeah. Which makes more sense. Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, so
see how it goes.
That puts us down to the last 3 things. Fuego, let's do the 2 for you, and then slightly out of order, we'll finish with the one I can talk about as well. When the Screaming Starts.
Screambox Original, everybody, which is the streaming service that Bloody Disgusting has, under their belts at this particular point. I believe that's where Terrifier 2 is exclusive at this particular point, but a very amusing comedic horror film. So, essentially, envision that there is somebody who wants to start their own, like, I don't know, Jonestown or, sort of, like, massive, Charles Manson sort of situation, specifically, a cult, but yet they don't want to do any of the killing themselves. They want to, like, they want to incorporate people, they want to infiltrate and recruit and stuff, and have all of them do the killing, and they have almost that, like, wash your hands sort of lack of accountability, and that's what this film is about. So you have a Irish guy who you see prominently in the chair in this poster, and he recruits a bunch of people, and yet they all do the killing for him, and then in turn they turn on him because they're like, you're a pussy, you're not willing to actually kill. And it's not an amazing film, but it is a very solid 3, maybe 3.5 stars. It was in the ranking for my favorites of the year. As we're going to record and stuff, and so for that reason I was incredibly amused by just the dynamic of manipulation, where you're like, okay, I want to be a serial killer, and you're like, well, I don't really want to be a serial killer, I want to be the influencer that brings people in and has others kill for me sort of bit, and they approach it in a very comedic, accessible fashion, and I dug it, man. This movie was very, very amusing. So
All right.
That's my concise yawn sort of
second to last one.
situation.
Who invited them?
Another Shudder, man. This one is nowhere near as nasty as the Speak No Evil, I think, which we were talking about previously. This one is about a family in the hills. And not even a family, it's a couple, just they don't have any kids or anything. But, so they buy this home in the Hollywood Hills, and they throw a very self-indulgent sort of party, and there are 2 people who show up at this party that they did not invite. And it's really another one of those films where you, like, the little aspect, like, the less you know, the better sort of aspect, and it's very much of that regard, because and like these two people, they try to befriend our hosts, and there's some things revealed about how they tie in with the property and so on, and I almost feel like maybe even that is too much to divulge. So yeah, this movie is another that it's on my list because of the fact that it's another weird sort of indie film that was nothing like anything else that I watched this year. And so I tried to give the most amount of props to stuff that was nothing like I watched this year. And this film, most definitely, despite not being perfect, it achieved that. So, bangarang.
Interesting.
All right, my son's freaking out, so we gotta speed through this last one.
Sorry,
here.
mate.
Werewolf by Night.
We all watched
still
this.
didn't talk about this.
This film kicks ass.
Yeah, I thought
wish
it was
a
awesome.
full
It's a short on Disney Plus, based on the comic in the Marvel universe.
I did watch this.
Yep. So it
black
also
and
had the nice thing is it had Man-Thing in it, which was really cool. Which was also, I believe, sculpted by Mikey Rotz, the man who sculpted our Freddy. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that is also the case. So he sculpted the Smile creature, the Man-Thing creature from Werewolf by Night, and our Freddy. So,
okay. So I have to ask you,
pretty freaking
Cecil,
awesome.
did you think the tone was a little too humorous in this? Because
I
that's
need
one
to
of the main
rewatch it.
detriments.
Honestly, it's been a while, and I think I was starting to doze at the end the first time because I watched it late or drunk.
I thought it was balanced.
Yeah.
I did too. But like some of the peeps who have been like not the biggest fan of this were like, okay, it's too goofy, and they thought that some of the dialogue wasn't really like maintaining the serious tone or whatever.
Not a 1945 movie, creature movie.
Yeah, right?
It's going to feel off, regardless of how you approach it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. No, this was awesome. Disney Plus, guys, is the way to check this out. And I mean, Giacchino, right? I mean, the fact that he his first time actually directing a movie, which is pretty rad. So.
Indeed. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That's gonna do it for our massive review roundup.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us long distance, Marsha. We greatly appreciate it.
We miss you, dude.
I miss you guys so much.
Thank you to all of our viewers for watching. Thank you to all of our commenters for commenting. I greatly appreciate you guys interacting with us. The plan is Fuego and I, if not tonight, we'll record remotely tomorrow the best ofs. We're going to do the best 10 horror movies of 2022, the top either 6 or 10 most anticipated of 2023, and the top 6 or 10 best horror TV shows of 2022. So
I'm not working till 8 tomorrow, so if you want to do it tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow would probably be best then. So we'll record those tomorrow to be presented next week. If we can get to see Megan before and get to see Megan and turn the review around for Friday before I go out of town to Flagstaff for the weekend, then we will do that. But the first best of will go up on Sunday. And if we don't get Megan done, then one of the other ones will go up Friday as well. So look forward to that. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. We greatly appreciate it. We'll be back in 2 weeks to go live for a new state of the channel. Yeah. There's going to be some changes this year, guys. I know I've said that in the past, but there's going to be some more significant changes this time. There's going to be some things besides... Fuego announced on his last Hail to Stephen King that was indeed the last Hail to Stephen King on this channel. Hail to Stephen King is going to be moving to its own separate channel, I believe, now. Maybe not even to Fuego's personal channel. But stay tuned for that. And then there's going to be some other things moving, and there may be some new channels being started individually by some of the members of the show. So we'll talk about all that during the State of the Channel, which will be on if today's the 1st, it'll be on the 15th. Yeah, it is the 1st. Sunday the 15th. So we'll be back to address all of that then, when hopefully more of the details are ironed out. So yes, thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Fuego.
I'm Marsh Parker.
And remember, stay scared. No, you're good.